G'day. Oh, hang on a second, better make sure the mic is actually working. And it does appear to be. Okay, g'day ladies and gents, and how are we all doing this evening? Sorry about the little delay getting fired up there. I just had to grab myself a nice fresh cup of coffee before starting off. Oh, I need that. Alright, so today we are playing Solar Expanse. I'm probably going to do a couple of streams on this one, assuming my internet plays nice. So this is a brand new solar system exploration and management game. It went live today into early access, so it's only freshly out. The music sounds like it might be a little bit loud too. I might need to adjust that in just a moment. But yeah, only just come out today, although I have had this one for about a week, so I have to do the legal thing that's required of me. Yes, I did receive a copy of this game for free, and I am now covering it, so keep that in mind on anything that I say. Right. This was a happy coincidence, because this was a game that I have actually been following for since it first popped up as coming soon on Steam. So the gist here is very simple. You're going to start at about 2020. With the technology of the time, you've got a couple of factions that you will recognize. We'll go through those in a moment. And you've got to start building out a space, start doing space exploration, and eventually build out a large space industry across the solar system. There is a lot of inspiration in this game taken from a lot of very common hard sci-fi titles. So for example, one of the first interplanetary ships that you'll unlock is the Hermes, which its namesake and its 3D model are very much the Hermes from The Martian. A lot of the technologies, there is no Epstein drive that I've noticed from the Expanse so far. I'm fully expecting that to show up at some point though, but you definitely have technology up to the torch drives, which are the precursor to the Epstein drives in the Expanse universe. There is references to The Martian, references to half a dozen other hard sci-fi titles throughout the entirety. There is a mission that I ran into where you do have to deliver a nuclear weapon to an asteroid and blow it up before it hits Earth, so there's your Armageddon reference in there as well. There's a lot going on here, and it may be the game that cost me getting the buff in War Thunder, because I thought I sat down the other night when I first got access to the code, right after I did the video actually, and decided, yeah, I'm just going to have a little bit of a play on this game, and 14 hours later I decided to crawl into bed, realizing that I may have just missed a star. So yeah, that's a thing. So anyways, we are going to get this game fired up. I still must venture from Kerbal Space Program in regards to space games. I'm not sure what you mean there. If you haven't played Kerbal Space Program, you absolutely should. Only Kerbal Space Program 1. Do not touch Kerbal Space Program 2 with a 10-foot pole. That is vaporware. I'm going to adjust the sound. God, it still feels so loud. I'm sort of mixing by ear here at the moment, but that seems a little bit better, so we'll go with that. Fire up a new game. As for this against Kerbal Space Program, there is no rocket building in this, as in you do not design your own. That is a feature I would like to see in this game, but it's not one that's in there now. You've only got preset sort of rocket stages that you can assemble. So you have preset launch vehicles, preset delivery systems. I'll explain it as we come up to it in the game. We'll be launching pretty much straight away. So, anyways, our factions. Now, we have NASA, you'll recognize. The ESA, you'll recognize. CNSA, you'll recognize. Roscosmos, you'll recognize. And SolX. So, why SolX and not SpaceX? Because SpaceX is a registered trademark and everything else is a government agency. They can have all of these. They couldn't do this. Somebody needs to get Elon Musk on the phone, tap him on the shoulder, and tell him to greenlight putting SpaceX up in here, because this is SpaceX. So each of your starting factions have various different advantages. SolX is private sector, starting research, improve reusable rockets and Hydrolox engines, starts with additional fuel production. NASA starts with nuclear power and propulsion and starts with hydrogen production. ESA starts with improved electrical engines and computing technologies and starts with a research lab. Starting research, improved mining and mining facilities for China. And Roscosmos starts with space farming and hydroponic farms. So we're going to start with SpaceX because I'm just going to say SpaceX. SolX. Starting with the improved reusable rockets is actually really useful, I've found so far. So we'll go with that one. Now, we have some examples of other things that are not currently in the game. For the moment, we get the realistic solar system. There is a simplified version that is not available yet. But you'll notice these other ones down here. This is part of the other section of this game that is not currently available in early access, but you can see the first stages on the technology tree for this. You are not limited to the Sol system in this game. The goal for this game is you will expand your, do your exploration and your expansion of industry through the Sol system, and eventually be able to build the technologies to move on to other stars and try and build a proper interstellar trade empire and do interstellar exploration. So it just keeps going. The timeline for this game starts in 2020. Their goal seems to be to have you play out centuries of future space travel. Okay, so that's what this is. This is actually starting either a simple solar system for those who want a really easy game, or starting at other star systems and trying to work your way back. This we don't know. There's a whole bunch of to be revealed later where they have plans that they have not revealed. But it looks good so far. I should also say, for an early access game, incredibly stable and very good gameplay for a game that is only just entered early access today. So, we have our starting points. We have 2020, the exploration, 2040, the expansion. Now, the reason why we have this unlocked at the moment is because I played through the first 20 years of the game already once. That wasn't the end point, that's just where I stopped playing because a patch came out that broke my save. So, we got to start from scratch. But we are going to start at 2020 because I want to run this one from the start. But, as you can see, 2300 is a starting point and you go from there in the future. So, difficulty, I'll leave that at Pioneer. Now, I'm going to do something different here. I'm actually going to turn on all of the corporations. What I have found so far, and it's one of the things I'm somewhat disappointed about, the other corporations do stuff. You do see them launching rockets and you will be able to find their facilities on planets. You'll be able to tab over them and see what they're doing. But they don't seem to be in competition with you. You get missions, but only you can fulfill them. It's not a race to fulfill them before anybody else does. So, as far as I can tell, there are no disadvantages to having these guys, having all of the rival corporations active at the start. There's only a potential advantage, and that is each of these corporations can potentially put out orders for resources on each of the planets that they've managed to get to in order to do construction, which means if you have those resources available in excess, there is a potential to actually be able to make money selling to the AI corporations all of your excess in order to, fulfill their orders. So turning them all on is actually probably a really good idea. I found no downside so far. Good advice, Mags. I've played the first Kerbal, but still haven't mastered it. You never truly master Kerbal. You always run into something new whenever you try something new. And if you're not, it means you're not exploring what you can do in the game hard enough. KSP2, I did see a while ago. There was somebody trying to work on a mod for KSP2 that was essentially to turn it into the game that was originally promised to us. But I have no idea how it's going, and it feels like the sort of thing that I could only recommend to people like me who have already bought it, who actually bought it back in day one before it all went tits up and want to actually get some usage out of it. Beyond that, just modify the first Kerbal Space Program. It's fantastic. Right. So, welcome, Director. Your mission is to lead us to the conquest of the solar system and beyond. We're about to schedule our first flights into space and then the moon and other planets. Eventually, we'll colonize Terraform and perhaps one day venture to the stars. I'll be your assistant. Look for tutorial information at the top left-hand corner. So you can skip the tutorial. I will play through most of it because it is basically just stepping you through missions, and it might make it a little bit easier to see how this all works. But this is where you'll be viewing the game from for most of the time. So we have the complete solar system, and it runs in real time. So we have Earth here, we have Lunar here, and I'll jump over here. The Sun, Mercury. We can switch over. Oh, they've changed that. That used to run a lot slower. Maybe it doesn't have a real-time clock anymore. You can definitely speed it up. But various speeds for control. I was sure that used to be the real-time clock. It looks like it's a multiplier now. Oh, my bad. Mercury. Venus. Earth, Lunar, down to Mars. Mars comes complete with Phobos and Deimos. Jupiter with all of her moons. No, not all of her moons, but a good selection of them. Saturn with a good selection of hers, and so on and so on and so on, all the way down to Pluto. Now we also... How can I do this easily? Planetary bodies. So you can see we get a whole list of objects here. We can discover more. So we've got Jupiter Trojans, the Greeks, outer belt asteroids, inner belt, middle belt, the works. You can find near-Earth objects. We've got to set up telescopes to be able to find those. And all of these are locations that you can visit and potentially mine. And the better equipment we have for studying the solar system that we put into the game, the more stuff will actually punch up here. Right, so let's set up our first launch. So this is the object panel, contains all the information about the planet as well as building spacecraft and launch vehicles you have on it. You can begin planning missions here. So we are on Earth. Currently we have our headquarters. We have our vehicle assembly, observatory, a solar array for power. This will run out, we'll need to expand that. Habitats, so our habitats will hold about 100 people. We have habitat, we're basically building construction on planet to support 200 people, which we have, which we'll need to use. People is a resource here, a resource that I discovered, unfortunately, you can buy and sell. I feel like that should possibly be on a slightly different window than that, but I get what they're doing. Water ice extraction, which we use for fuel processing, a fuel refining facility, and we have a space telescope that currently is doing nothing. So that is not a facility, that is a piece of equipment that we can actually launch, which is what this mission will be about. So we need to prepare ourselves a new mission. So Earth, and we will be going to Earth orbit. Now, this is how you build rockets in this. You have various spacecraft and you have various launch vehicles. This is an orbital payload container. It's only good for putting something in orbit. You can use it to put something in orbit around another planet, but that's all it can do. And it has a fairly limited amount of weight. So it does have a potential 1,000 kiloton capacity. What? That's odd. I was sure it was only like 5 tons. It might be the other one. Regardless, it is the launch vehicle and represents all of the thrusters and equipment and extra stuff that needs to be attached to whatever payload you want to insert into orbit. So the module is what you want to put into orbit. So we want to put the space telescope up. It is a 2-ton space telescope. Basically, we're launching Hubble. Now we have our launch vehicles. So our Sparrow is our simple, basic launch vehicle, really only good for Earth orbit. It can only get a potential of 10 tons into low Earth orbit, and that's all it can do. We can, however, build Falcon and Eagle. Now, Falcon has a 42-ton maximum, and it's reusable. This is why we went with SpaceX for reusable rockets. We get these straight off the bat, and these are actually quite down the tech tree. And then we have Eagle, which is has a potential 800-ton lift capacity, which we will not have anything that will max Eagle out for quite some time. So we select Sparrow for the launch. Now we've got to set up our flight plan. So Flight plan's actually set up because we're only going to orbit. This would be normally where we have to set up whether or not we're going to perform any slingshot maneuvers, where we're going, if there's anything else that we would need to do in the flight. Because we're only going to orbit, this one's nice and simple. So Delta V is sorted out. Our launch date will be January 14th, so we're going to launch in 3 days. We will arrive on 15th, so we must be launching near midnight. Mission length 0 days, and this is the amount of fuel. It'll cost us 24.5 fuel units of our maximum. We can see how much we have. We have 59.9 thousand units, so we've got plenty of fuel available, so this is not a concern. And we can see Earth orbits this way. This will be our launch point. So when the Earth hits there, mission occurs. We now have a satellite in orbit. We have our Hubble. Right, so now what do we do with Hubble? So we go over here, we can bring up our exploration options. This is our Earth Observatory. Now we have Earth Orbit. This is our new satellite we've just put up here at the moment, and we can choose what we want it to observe. Now for the moment, I actually want to observe Lunar, because we're going to go to Lunar and I want to start mapping out surface deposits of resources before I get there, so I can work out exactly what I'm going to set up. I don't know how randomized this is, so there might be preset resources. It might vary depending on your load or your save. Notify new discovery, accept. We'll just leave that as is. So, first orbit, mission completed, telescope successfully delivered, systems check passed, we're ready to observe objects in the outer worlds. So it will observe Lunar until it can't find anything, it'll let us know then, and then we can change it to observe something else. New contract, explore Lunar. We cannot hope to research as I stumble over my own mouth. We cannot hope to reach further if we don't start in our closest neighborhood. It's time to send a probe to Earth's companion, prepare a spacecraft, and deliver a probe to Lunar. This will allow us to search for resource deposits on the lunar surface. So this is the second part. The satellite can map, the space telescopes can map resources on a nearby planet, and you can use the space telescopes to map any planet in the solar system. But it can't tell you how much is there. You need a probe to find that out, or you need to actually put people on the moon. I keep wanting to say MUN now I've been talking about Kerbal Space Program. The other thing I want to check, observatory, Earth. We don't have anything. I want to set Earth up to start tracking near Earth objects. So it will start finding asteroids that are directly in our local neighborhood. Alright. So, next operation will be to go to... We'll just let time forward just a little bit while we'll have a quick check on chat. Mags, mate, you got a nail gun? War Thunder teams make me feel like some... Yeah, it's a bit like that at the moment, especially with the event on at the moment, because your players are all mixed up at the moment, Tal. Don't particularly like what they've done to the event at the moment too. They've kind of made the fun parts of the event a bit taxing, although I know you weren't particularly interested in the event itself. Currently reinstalling the first Kerbal Space program, nothing like joining a mag stream where you're playing a space game. Hey, it's a great game. I've always got Kerbal installed, I've always got it modded. Every now and again I've got to check it to make sure the mods are up to date, but it's funny. My Kerbal mod loadouts are usually based around exploration and building facilities on planets. I like building colonies, and then anything that lets me potentially build smaller rockets on other planets. Basically all the things we were promised in KSP2. This game essentially lets me do all that without actually building the rockets myself, so I hope they add that. Also, this looks nice. Still a planet to me, damn it. Yes, Pluto is still a planet to me as well. And yes, it is a really nice game. It is a management game. It is heavy on the management side, but it's a good game. Actually, speaking of which, we should probably get some research running here at the moment. So this is the research tree, and this is what I mean. Where is nuclear power, observation power, fission theory, chemical propulsion, launch facility, launch vehicles, materials. There's a lot of research to do in this. Solar sails, yes, you can build solar vehicles. Spacecraft, so Stratos is something we'll be researching soon. As you can see from the icon there, yes, it's Starship. It's SpaceX Starship. This one, can I... it won't let me give a look. Hermes, that is a dead ringer for the Hermes out of the Martian. I can't bring it up until I've actually unlocked Stratos to have a look at it, but that's what it is. And you can see it keeps going. And then over, where is the node? Here. This is where the tech tree currently stops. It looks like it's meant to keep going, but the tech tree only goes up to here. Interstellar travel. They have locked it off at the moment. I can't see it. There you go. 49,903 days in order to unlock that. It's locked off by time. But that's going to be the start of your ability to go to other solar systems. And as you can see, the tech tree continues on from there. So there is going to be a lot in this in the future. In the meantime, where to go first? Really, you know what? As far as I'm going to go back down to vehicles. We are going to research. It's only 60 days for Starship. Elon Musk, eat your heart out. Right, we are going to get Starship up and running because I'm going to want that. We already have the launch vehicles for it. I just need the rocket to be able to start moving stuff around. Thanks for giving Solar Expanse a look. Been on my radar, as always. Enjoy your content over the years. Thanks, mate. No, it's my pleasure. As I said, I got a copy of this for free, but it is something that I've actually been tracking for quite a few months. This always looked like it was going to be a really good little game to play, and so when I was offered free code for it, I ain't turning that down. I'm not turning down a free game that I was already going to buy anyway a week before it comes out. Crazy, not stupid. But it is a really good game. As I said, first time I sit down for a session in this, I lost 14 hours. And the only reason I didn't lose more is because my wife wandered into the office at 4 AM and told me to stop being a dickhead and go to bed. So far I like this game. Only thing I would like to see if the contracts were random. So far it's in order, same order as me. Yeah, this is still the tutorial change. So I'm pretty stage. So I'm pretty sure the tutorial contracts won't vary at all. Once you're out of the tutorial, from that point, I don't know. I would assume there's a bunch of random contracts based on your planetary progression. The only oddball that I've had that doesn't seem to be related to progression was the Armageddon contract, where I got a near-Earth asteroid that was going to collide with Earth was detected, and I had to launch a rocket out to intercept the asteroid and deliver a nuke to destroy it. Which is kind of fun. There's a lot of movie references in this that pop up if you're looking for them. Alright, so we need to start getting some stuff under construction. So, Earth. We're going to build an Iris probe. This is obviously following the tutorial so far. So the Iris is the next step up for a low-mass spacecraft for delivering, materials to wherever. We're going to get one of those under construction. We're still going to be able to use... Yes, because Iris will only be 2 tons, and I think the payload for a probe is only 2 tons. We need to get that built as well. Going to kind of shortcut a few sections of the build process here. We already have the Sparrow to launch, which will be disposable. Now, ahead of time, I am going to build a Falcon. because as soon as that completes, I'm building a Stratos so we can start moving stuff to the moon, so we can get stuff to Lunar and actually start delivering colonies and mining components there. So I want that prepared. And just one more orbit? Yes, just one more orbit is probably the best description for this game. You can get right into it. Now we can see all of our competitors down here, as well as world government. So for the moment, world government will only ever show you stuff on Earth. If we go to Mars, world government, there is none. So no MCRN just yet. But we can see what everybody else is up to. So you can see all the starting facilities for each of the other factions that are available on Earth, and see parts of what their research is available. You can't see what else they're doing, but you'll be notified about their launches when you see them pop up. So, for example, if I go over here into the layers section and we turn on other corporations, if they launch anything, we will see an icon for who launches moving out. That'll help us keep track of what they're up to. Also, actually while I'm at it, turn on asteroids. We can see all the current known asteroids that we know of so far. I don't think we've detected any. These are the ones that are already on the map and where they are. And we can get right out. And if I turn asteroids off and turn comets on, we can see the location of all our others. So Haley is currently here. Who's that over there? That's Faye. She's there. And we've got to move close enough to get a marker for them. But there are a few comets that track through as well. And yes, we can try and run a mission to get a rocket to a comet as well. That is entirely possible if we want to give it a try. A lot of this comes down to what do you want to try in between doing the missions. So, anyways, let's go back to Earth. Now, we have Iris. We are still building the probe. That is just about complete. There we go. Right, now we've got to set up our mission. What's it trying to do here? Press and hold the left mouse button on the module icon to move it. I don't think this was in the tutorial the last time I played through. It's already made it for me. Okay, I was putting them together manually. That's going to take some getting used to. Alright. Not the most creative name in the world, but the Lunar 1 mission. We're going to take the Iris spacecraft. We are going to put a probe on it. We're going to use the Sparrow as our launch vehicle. Mission length is 7 days. To do the flight, we will be launching in 3 days. And there is our actual flight from launch to intercept with Lunar. So, there's Lunar 1. Now, this is something I would like to see them improve just a little bit. It's not uncommon for the orbits after launch to wind up inside of the body you're launching from. I would like to actually see them improve this a little bit, so you actually see the launch come out and then separate away from the planet, you know, like it would realistically. Because at the moment I'm flying parallel to Earth inside of the Earth, but it's good enough to get the idea across. And there we go, there's our intercept with Lunar. Contract completed. Explore Lunar. Touchdown confirmed. Data feed established. We'll be getting survey data on resource deposits soon. Finding out what riches lay on the moon. Unlock contract. Lunar landing. So that moves us on a lock. It's time for our grand return to the moon. Let's construct our most powerful launch vehicle and spacecraft capable of bringing the crew to the moon and back. We might not be the first humans there, but we'll make sure we're the ones to be remembered. So we've already researched Stratos. We're already ahead there. We need to begin construction on Stratos. We already have a legal Eagle launch vehicle that is currently under construction, I believe. Let me check. No, we're constructing Falcon, and they want... Why do you want Eagle? Falcon would be more than sufficient. Alright, I'll build Eagle as well. That's fine, doesn't bother me. Spacecraft, let's get Stratos under construction. In fact, let's get 2 under construction, because I'm going to start running some parallel missions pretty quickly here. We are going to need... We already have 1 crew capsule available. Construct the launch vehicle, bring it to the Earth to the moon. Bring the crew back to Earth within 10 days. Huh. I don't recall doing a return mission. There has been an update, so there's a couple of things that have changed. I don't think I did a return mission the last time in the tutorial. The last time I got the mission to put people on the moon, it was just to go to the moon, and as soon as they were there, I immediately started setting up a colony almost instantly. So this time they want us to bring them back. Well, that's fine. Makes more sense. But I'm going to be putting them back there pretty quickly. Hey Matt, how's it going, mate? Yep, it's live. What did I miss? Just going through the basics of the game, what it is, sort of basics on how it functions, and running through the earlier tutorial missions. So not a great deal at this point. Right, so we will just speed up time. There's not a whole of a lot we can do at the moment until everything's built. Actually, what I should do, though... Idiot. I didn't queue up any more spacecraft. Alright, so... Like off the electrics, the saline. We won't go for that just yet. Biotech will only take 120 days. I will need to do colony construction fairly soon, but I think... I don't need to do the farms just yet. I can do food transfers from Earth easy enough. I'm just trying to think of my order for construction here, for research here at the moment. Solars, we've already got observatories done. Nuclear power we don't require straight away. Atomic manipulation, fission theory, improve reactor vessels. We don't need those power generation. Spin launch will make it a bit cheaper for doing short missions later, but it's not a important thing this early on. Hang on. Regolith slifting. Helium-3 extraction, radioisotope isolation. Increases mining efficiency of all by 25. Alright, so that is really what I want to focus on very quickly. As much as it takes 1,000 days, that's kind of important. A 25% boost to all mining. Then I want to get biotech up next. Followed straight into space farming. And then I definitely want to get colony construction. And I might even move... Yeah, you know what? I might actually move colony construction up as more urgent. That needs to be the second thing researched. Yeah, that'll work for the moment. That'll keep the researching a little busy for a while. Right. So, mission planning. Falcon is built, Eagle's still under construction, Stratos is still under construction. So there's not much else for us to do at the moment, just let that tick along. Has a bit of an OG game vibe. Not sure what you mean by that. This is very much a management game. Alright, so now we need to construct the Stratos. Stratos is under construction. We need to expand. That's what we need to do as well. We've only got one vehicle assembly building, so I can only build one vehicle at any given time. I need to expand that out for 2. So what is the cost for a new vehicle assembly? We need 200 alloy and 50. No, we can do that. Actually, no. We can do it, but I'm probably not going to need it. With the Falcon and Eagle plus 2 Stratos, I'm not going to be constructing a whole lot. I'll expand it a little bit later. Now, while the planets are increased in... Whoa, hold up. Well, I guess the race just started. What have we got here? So, NASA has launched a mission. What did they launch? Can I see what their mission was? Yes. Oh, I'm going to lose that part of the race. They've already got a Stratos up. ESA has got 5 people going up. They're all doing the same thing. China and Roscosmos. I'm going to be late to the party. Three and 4. So there are 20 people on the Mun currently. On the Mun. Goddamn Kerbal Space Program. No, they've only had 1 person in each capsule. So current population on Lunar is only 4. And they must have got launches ahead of me before as well, because they've all got probes already up too. We never saw that launch. So they must have done that launch before I turned the observation on. Browser game from early 2000s. I don't think I know of that one. Although, given the number of browser games from the early 2000s that wound up being turned into major titles, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some inspiration for that in there as well somewhere. Kerbal Space Expanse? Basically, yes. Alright, so we have ours up. Now, I'm not going to be a pussy and send 1. I'm going to send 5. So, new mission. Earth to Lunar. Going to send the Stratos. Add module. We're going to send 5 people up. It wants us to use Falcon. Wants us to use Eagle as a launch vehicle, I think, but I'm not going to use Eagle. I'm going to use Falcon because I don't need Eagle. I don't know why it wants. That's the more expensive one to launch. I don't need 800-ton lift capacity for a 10-ton payload with 5 people. What I will do, though, actually, let's make a small adjustment to this mission. I'm also going to add resources and put 32 tons of supplies on board. So that brings us up to our 42-ton max capacity for Falcon, and I'm going to leave those supplies, any supplies we don't consume, on Lunar once we get there, so we're already starting to build a stockpile for future missions. So Falcon up. Supplies represent food, oxygen, water, and other necessities for human survival in space. They can be made on farms or purchased on Earth and are required by humans to transport and survive the trip. If they're trained for an extended period without supplies, they will die. Or if they're trapped for an extended period of supplies, they'll die. If spacecraft supplies capacity is too low, load additional supplies in the cargo hold. Humans in habitats consume less supplies. They can also survive without supplies. However, without them, they won't do any work and they're too busy keeping themselves alive. Right. So, our onboard supplies with what we've got in the hull is enough for over 9,000 days. So I think they're going to be fine. But most of that we're going to leave there because we'll need to start building a stockpile because I'm not going to be able to do farming on Lunar for at least a little bit. So, mission plan is up. We launch in 3 days. Boom, there's the launch. And we are now on the moon as well. They got there before us, but we doubled the population of the planet, so it's fine. Alright, so we got 32 tons, 32.6 tons here, 5 people on planet currently, which is a full load, 509 tons of fuel. Now, so far we have found helium-3, we've found silicon, we've got fissiles, and we've got frozen water. So it's not surprising we haven't found carbon. No metals either. I hope we find metals. That would be really, really useful. Right. Now, we don't need to stay there. Our mission is to just bring them back. So, planned a mission and back to Earth. Again with the Stratos, load the modules, and we are going to load the crew compartment with our 5 crew members on board. We're not bringing anything back with us at all. We're leaving all that food there. Mission is planned, and here is our return trip. There's the launch. Beautiful part about Starship is she can do it all on her own, and contract completed. So now, we've got to construct a space stock is one of our next missions. We also have missions to explore Mars. And at this point, the game sort of starts letting us go. We'll get the occasional tutorial pop-ups, but that'll be about it. So before we worry too much about this, I want to get some stuff going on Lunar. So now we're a bit freehand. Falcon's already ready, Eagle's good. We need to start getting some construction underway. So what I want, we want a mining module. So the mining modules are an automated mine that can be deployed that will just dig whatever surface deposits are available to start gathering up resources. And I want a mobile refinery. So mobile refineries, same deal. They're a fully automated fuel refinery that'll process water into rocket fuel. If I launch these up and put them on the on the Lunar, I'm going to keep doing that, and leave them there, they'll actually start to mine the resources and start producing fuel completely on their own without me needing to put anybody else up there or build any facilities for it. Once there's a little bit of a stockpile up there, I can reliably start doing transfers in the Starship between Earth and Lunar without having to worry about fuel in the slightest. I can also start setting up to do build up fuel on Lunar in order to deliver back to Earth orbit, so I don't have to put fuel in my orbital facilities doing the expensive launches from Earth. I can just bring it from the moon and stockpile it. So I want both of those up, and I'm going to deploy both of them as fast as possible. We will need to build an outpost there, so what are we looking at? 15 tons for the mining. 25, so 40. The construction equipment's only 5 tons. You know what? Yes. Yes, we will build that as well. I will need to use, that's 45, yeah, I'll need to use Eagle to launch that, but I'll launch all three in one, because then I have an automated factory that can start producing facilities ahead of astronaut arrival. So we got a little bit of time while it's ticking through. Water found on Mars. We'll need to get out to Mars launch as quickly as possible as well. But the Mars launch is going to have to be the same way. I want a factory, I want a mining facility, and I want a refinery on Mars, because it's likely I'll be able to get Starship there, but I won't have enough fuel to be able to get it back. So I'm going to have to send facilities to automate fuel production before we actually initiate that mission. So I can get the probe there, but get the delivery vehicle back, and I'm not wasting them. Right, what are you bastards sending over this time? Russia? What? China? What are you doing? China is just sending fuel. Pardon me, guys. My cat is scratching at the door. I'll be right back. Come on, cat. Come in and say hello to somebody. Meow and purr really loudly. Come on. Come on. Yes. Come on. Why must you stand as far away as you possibly can to get scratches after meowing to come in? You know you want to sit on my lap. There you go. There you go. Alright, where was I now? Roscosmos, same deal. So it looks like the AI is doing exactly the same thing every single time with almost simultaneous launches. So it looks like there must only be one AI, and it's just repeating whatever it does across all the agencies for the moment. That's a little disappointing, but there is absolutely room for improvement there. It'd be nice to see maybe something like Buddy RimWorld, where you have a various series of AIs that'll each develop and try and work at different levels and almost compete against one another. Something like that, where you could have a randomly assigned AI to each space program apart from the one you selected at the start of the game, and they will actually compete as well as develop different goals. So maybe NASA will be focusing on the low Earth orbit lunar stuff, but China will try and jump straight out and try and head straight for Mars right from the get-go, or something along those lines. That's a very, how dare you not read my thoughts and force me to get. Yes, she is a cat. She is the most cat of cats. Aren't ya? Yes. Right. Well, they can complete their landings. I don't care that they're putting fuel up there. I'm planning on mining fuel there. Or the fact that there was instantaneous launches makes me think they sent their first rockets up there without enough fuel to be able to do the return on their own. And so that was a refueling mission to actually be able to bring them back. And now they have a spacecraft on Lunar and one on a return mission each. Speaking of cats, there's a Space Kitten game, very much like Kerbal. Yes, I am watching Kitten Space Agency as a potential spiritual successor to Kerbal Space Program. I'll be honest, the game itself looks like it's going to be fantastic. It'll be everything we hoped KSP2 was going to be. I'm not sure I go on the kitten aesthetic. I liked the Kerbals, and I do like cats, but I can't look at the little like the concepts they've got for the kitten astronauts and not think Hello Kitty Space Odyssey or something. I think, I'm hoping it won't hurt them too much, but I just feel like the aesthetic might work against them a little bit. The Kerbals were great as a joke because it's basically Little Green Men space program. So, yeah, I don't know if the aesthetic there is going to work as well. But beyond the kittens in spacesuits, the actual rest of the gameplay and what they're trying to do with the solar system and the research systems and the exploration and the rest looks spot on. And I'm absolutely going to be playing it as soon as it's available to do so. No question. No question at all. Alright. So, I'm not going to do that Mars mission yet. What are we up to? Alright, so that's all built. So, new mission. Destination will be Lunar. We will send one of the Stratoses up. Now, modules. I want mining module, construction equipment, and the mobile refinery on board. So it's a 45-ton payload. Since we have extra space and we're doing the larger launch vehicle, what are we going to need? What are we going to need? Let me just open up the window here so I can see our resource requirements. Resource requirements for an outpost. Outpost requires 10 tons of supplies, 40 tons of metal. That makes sense. And what about early production facilities? Water ice wants 125 tons. We're not going to have the space in Starship for that. We've only got a 100-ton limit. What I might do... Oh, they're all there. We'll just send up a full load of metal, because we're going to need it one way or another. So 55 tons of metal. It won't be enough for all of our needs, but it'll be a start. Don't waste any of the tonnage since we're going to be using the larger launch vehicle. And we'll use Eagle for the launch. So 7 days, departs November 12th. And that gets some, so we can get an outpost at least under construction straight away. So the outpost is the smallest habitat that you can build on a planet. Only needs 40 tons of metal in order to produce, but it can only house 10 people. But otherwise it's pretty self-contained. So it's limited capability, but you don't need to do a lot else for it. So it's the logical first build while I'm trying to work out the rest of our systems that we're going to need. Alright, so delivery is complete. So our extractor will start mining surface materials straight away. So we'll start gathering up water. In fact, it looks like it already is. That's the main one we want, because the refinery will turn that water in fuel and start building up our fuel. And we have the construction equipment available, so I can immediately, with our 31 tons of food or supplies that we left on there before, immediately issue an order for construction of an outpost ahead of time, so that we have life support facilities for 10 people. Cool. Now that's done, and I don't have to concern myself there for a little bit. We can start looking at the space dock next. So, mission requirements for the space dock. We want the orbital construction. And it's mainly going to be materials hauling. So 150 tons of alloys, 150 tons of, 50 tons of polymers and 25 tons of electronics. And that will be enough to build our orbital shipyard, so we can actually construct some stuff in orbit. Yeah, the Kerbals were hilarious. Yeah, the Kerbals was a fantastic idea, and I think it was only done at the time because them, if I remember the story, their modeling skills for actually creating a character were limited, so they went with the Kerbals as a concept, and then everybody just fell in love with it, and so they rolled with it, and it was just one of those things that worked out just perfectly. They were the perfect character for that type of game. And it's just a shame things went the way it did with KSP2, because the Kerbals should have been a franchise. Like, it should have been a thing. There should have been KSP2, and then there probably could have been a whole bunch of other games that span off from that were space-based, with the Kerbals going out and doing wacky, you know, interplanetary or interstellar exploration bullshit. It would be great. But KSP2 just axed it. I think the my ultimate goal, if I remember correctly, the guys doing Kitten Space Agency were trying to get the rights to Kerbal at one point. I don't know how they did. I haven't heard anything on it. If they did convert Kitten Space Agency that they're building over to a proper KSP2, that would be my ultimate goal. And then they would be in charge of it from there on. I don't know how they were going with that, though. The fact that I haven't heard anything is not promising. But I know it was something that they were trying at one point. Right, so Eagle is currently being refurbished. 85 days until the construction is done. So we can probably start running some cycling missions here at the moment. So let's set up a new launch. We're going to Earth into Earth orbit. We're going to send the Stratos up because I want 100 tons, although we're not going to be using it. We're going to be using 45 tons for our launch vehicle. Add resources. Although, no, Eagle's not ready yet. That's fine. So we'll get electronics up first. We need 25 tons of electronics in. And we will send up our first load of alloy as well. Oh, 17, what am I doing? 17 brings us to 42 tons. Falcon has 42 lift capacity, and we'll schedule that one in. And then she just comes straight back once she's up there. So then I can schedule another mission straight away. Earth orbit back to Earth. It'll be the Stratos. And no resources to bring back, no launch vehicle for it, just drop her out of orbit as is. And that leaves her remaining fuel in space, as well as 17 tons and the 25 tons of electronics. So that's one completed. We've just got to get the rest up. Now, KSP wanted too much. No, I disagree. I don't think KSP wanted too much. The problem was, I think the developers were willing. The publishers wanted too much. And by too much, I'm talking specifically about money. In the end, as much as we all love Kerbal Space Program, it is, I can let that roll a bit while it's working, it is a niche game. All these space exploration games are, there's a relatively limited audience for them. And the problem was, it was at that period of time, when KSP went tits up, was that period of time during COVID where all the companies were looking at all the money that they were making, and they were basically only pushing through and following through on the games that were making the most. You remember that? Where they were just, the numbers were getting obscene, and if you weren't producing an obscene number, they just weren't interested. I'm pretty sure, was it Take-Two that got KSP2? I think they were publishing. Yeah, they're notorious for this kind of shit. And that's basically what it was. The pre-orders for KSP2 indicated to the publisher that it was not going to be in the obscene money generation category, and so they started doing shit that wound up destroying the game. Like, they started, you got to cut down the number of people that are working, you do this, you got to do that, and that caused huge chunks of the original development team for KSP2 to start falling out. And some of them seem to be genuinely interested in trying to do the right thing. I don't think anything that KSP2 was aiming to do was outside of the realms of reality. If they'd just been given a budget, the budget they needed, not an obscene one, and just been left alone. Kit and Space Agency is looking to do most of the things that KSP2 wanted to do. It's just publishers fucked it. Big surprise. Almost every single problem that you see in gaming today comes out of the publishers, particularly in any publisher that is involved in AAA gaming. They destroy their own products all the time. And yeah. That's what it is. Alright. We gotta schedule ourselves another launch to bring up. We want to do not Earth orbit. I want to do Earth to Earth orbit. The Stratos again, add resources. This time we are going to go up. Get part of that alloy load up this time. 42 tons. Eagle is still not ready yet, so I can't do a 100-ton launch. This is the beautiful part about these. I don't have to build new launch vehicles, although they will wear out eventually. At least I'm pretty sure they do. I did the previous playthrough. I had 2 Falcons and 2 Eagles, and then at one point I lost a Falcon and I only went down to 1. I figure there must be a limitation on the number of launches these can actually do before they actually wear out. But you don't have to replace them for every single launch, which is huge because it allows you to start doing heavy lifts very early on. So Falcon will be our launch vehicle for a 42-ton launch, and that is scheduled in. While that's doing its thing, we check Lunar. Fuel production, 94.2 tons going up. We need 300 to fill the tank in a Stratos, so that is good. Fuel production is working. And we are gathering some silicon as well for glass production, which we'll need for solar panels. And our water is going up, which we can use for other things. We will turn the moon into a giant fuel station. So that's good. We will have to get some more supplies up there soon, and then actually put some people up there permanently, I think. Alright, Stratos is in orbit. Now we schedule a new mission again. This time Earth orbit back to Earth. Except this time, I think we'll be using the Falcon. To Earth orbit. Stratos again. Yep, Falcon and Eagle are both available. Awesome. Add resources. This will be the big one. We're going to do alloys. Uh, 91 tons. We have 59 tons of alloys already in orbit. That'll bring us to 91. That should be our 150. And then I want 9 tons of polymers, which will be just enough that I can do an immediate launch follow-up with the other launch vehicle, and we'll be under the 42, I think. Yes. Yes. It is very late at night here, so my brain isn't working 100%. Sorry, guys. Also, feel free to throw some questions at me, guys, while I'm playing. So I'm just not talking to myself the whole time. If you want to know anything, or you want me to have a look at anything in the game, go for it. Alright. So we are in orbit now, 150 tons, 9 tons polymers. Cool, yes. Mission return to Earth. And as soon as you're back, I can schedule another mission. Remarkably good turnaround times here on these rockets too, I might add. I think everybody will be genuinely impressed if Musk ever actually gets Starship working this reliably. Earth orbit. Stratos again. Alright, add resources. This time we want more polymers. We only have 21. Alright, we need to buy more polymers. No, I don't want to buy max. I want to buy 200 units. We'll need some for elsewhere. Might as well send the whole lot up. So 42. That'll push us over what we need. And that puts a bit extra up there, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. 42. Falcon and schedule the launch. And there we go. Only thing I haven't delivered is the construction facility. So it's the last thing that I need. So now Earth orbit back to Earth. You'll get doing this a lot. The interface isn't bad for it though, so it's not terrible. Okay, so that is our return. Now I need to see... Neither of our launch vehicles are currently ready. Falcon will be ready first, which is unsurprising. That's why I want her around. Even though I've got access to Eagle, which will do 800 tons, it's just it comes down to how quickly they can be available. And most of the time, you don't need the full lift capacity. So Earth... Oh, actually, no, we should probably just wait. Cancel the mission plan. Wait till Falcon's completed. Assuming she's back in service now. So we go Earth to Earth orbit. And this time add module and it should be complete. The orbital construction facility, it is 5 tons. I am not going to deliver anything else to orbit in this load. Why can the launch vehicle... Oh no, it's a 5 tons, it's 50 tons. Alright, my bad, I read that wrong. We are going to have to wait for the other... wait for the other launch vehicle to be ready. When do you think SpaceX will finally get into space proper? SpaceX starts to feel like a game mode from Star Citizen. It comes down to what they're trying to build. I know everybody's excited about the Artemis launch recently, and it is fantastic. Make no mistake, I've been following it. My daughter has been full into following it as well, which has been really good to see. Lot of excitement about that one. But it is essentially Apollo 2.0. Very similar concepts, much larger scale, but the idea is there. Starship is something else. It will take however long it takes to go together. I feel like it's silly to ask this because you guys would absolutely already know, but if you haven't yet, have a look at the scale of the full stack SpaceX Starship build, full stack SpaceX Starship launch compared to all of the other launch vehicles that are out there. Starship is fucking huge. It doesn't come across when you see it on the launch videos when they're doing the test launches with it. But the thing is monstrous. It's larger than a 747. It is so big that you could stick all of the other space launch vehicles in their complete, their complete orbit or beyond profile. So the entire Apollo stack, including the lunar lander, inside of Starship's cargo bay. It is a monster of a thing flying. It's a building that we've just worked out how to make fly. Something that size is going to take a bit of time to work out some of the bits. The fact that they've got as far as they've got with it so far, that their main launch, they've already proven that they can do the catch recovery for the reusable launch vehicle. They've demonstrated that for real, which is freaking amazing to watch. And that they've already managed to get it up to space and then bring it back down. Yes, I know Starship hasn't done an orbit yet, but multiple times on those missions that it's been doing, there was nothing stopping it from going into orbit. It had the fuel, it had everything else that it needed. It just, the mission profile for what they were testing didn't require them to actually go to space. It just required it to get to space so they could test the re-entry, because that's the bit that they need to get right. At this point, they're already at the point they could put Starship in space if leave it up there. It's just a matter of working out. They need to make it reliable enough that you can bring a building from space back to the ground with people in it and not kill them. That takes a little bit more than it. Yeah. All the other stuff we've been messing around with space recently is kind of the modern version of what we've done in the past. They're building something that's different, and it's just going to take what it takes. And it's entertaining to watch. You got to admit, watching Elon Musk's destructive vehicle research, we'll just send it and then we'll film it and see what breaks, and then we'll fix what breaks in the next launch, has made for some spectacular video. Every single launch is entertaining. It's like it's either going to work and it'll be amazing, or it's not going to work and it's still going to be amazing. So, yeah. Yeah, the re-entry videos were the most spectacular thing that came out of it. Yeah, and the thing is, you got to keep the scale. If you watch the re-entry videos, it's like, oh yeah, it's a rocket coming down into thing, and yeah, you see the video. Have a look at the scale of the goddamn thing. It's a fucking monster of a thing that's actually flying back down. But the video doesn't really give you the scale for it. But I'm confident. Every single time they do a launch, they find something new that breaks. But the previous thing doesn't. I don't think they've ever had a problem, except for the very early days on their launches, when they were doing the very early the grain silo style launches, where they've had multiple failures of exactly the same thing in a row on their launches. They've got it to the point now, they send it up, they're looking at an area, and yes, something breaks. The next time they send it up, that bit doesn't break. Something else breaks. But that's the whole way that SpaceX is doing the idea. Basically, their idea is, we're going to keep launching Starship up there and let it keep breaking until eventually we start launching it and it doesn't break. And at that point in time, we've got everything. Now we can put people in it. That seems to be their theory. And it is absolutely a way you can do engineering. And the way that arguably is better. The problem with building something completely around computer simulations is no computer simulation is perfect. It'll miss things. And while most of the time our modern simulations that we use for a lot of building will only miss something that's incredibly minor and it'll be an annoyance, when you're dealing with something nobody's tried before and nobody's tried to bring a building back from space, that simulation can miss something that writes off the entire vehicle and everyone in it. So you'd rather have them burn up 1 million test launches to the point where they stop burning up before you put people in it, than hope the simulation got it right and pull off the same thing. So, and then, as I said, it's a spectacular way of doing things. I never miss a SpaceX launch. It's always going to be a fun go regardless. Alright, it looks like Eagle is up. So let's go to Earth. Stratos. Add module. Let's get that orbital launch orbital facility in there. We'll use the Eagle for the launch on this one, and there is our launch. Boom. All right. So now all we've got to do is go to not Lunar. Go to Earth orbit, and now we can actually start constructing things. So what we want to build is the orbital shipyard. Allows construction of advanced spacecraft in orbit. We will need this later for building the Hermes. It's actually not too important now, because in the end we need to keep bringing payloads back to Earth. So one way or another, the Stratos that we're operating on now, which is going to be our workhorse for a while, it needs to keep landing. So the ability to build it in space, we build it on the ground, it needs to launch anyway. It's not really an advantage. But when we start building nuclear rockets and building ships like the Hermes, we want to construct those in space. We do not want to have to lift those. In fact, I don't think you can build Hermes on the planet and even try and lift it. So that's what this is for. It's our preparation for our next series of expansions, which will be the colonization of Mars. Speaking of Mars... Falcon should be able to do a probe lift, I think. Iris is 20 tons. Yeah, Falcon should be good enough to send this probe, get this probe on its way out to Mars. Because it looks like the other corporations are already there and we've been talking too much, so I need to hurry that one up. Iris is constructed on Earth. Alright, let's set ourselves a new mission. We're going to go Earth to Mars direct, no orbit. We're going to use the Iris spacecraft because it's a one-way. I don't really care much about bringing her back. And we're sending the probe. Falcon's going to be our launch vehicle to send it underway. Alright, and we've got our pork chop. So our optimal doesn't launch for 2 years. That's not going to be what we're after. Our fastest launches in September. 6 months, 21 days transfer time. 190 propellant, that's fine. It's going to be a one-way trip. We'll arrive next year in March 30th. Yeah, for that mission, that will be fine. We will do that. So our launch for our Mars mission starts... That's theirs. I was going to start further around. Oh no. We're launching almost straight away. Alright, so we're going to be a little behind everybody else. Now, what are they sending? What are their payloads? Oh, they're just sending probes as well, so it's the same as our launch. That's right, but I'm going to follow it up with another launch pretty quickly. That'll get us ahead of where the AI is. Not that it really matters, but I'm feeling competitive now. This is a thing, the capabilities that come with Starship are great, but the whole Mars thing is just a bit too far. See, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think it would be better, and I think that's what they're going to do, is to take it, once they've got Starship sorted out, is to take advantage of it to bulk move stuff to set up a lunar habitat first. And it makes sense. Like, Artemis is absolutely going to make its trips and do its landings and get astronauts back on the moon. But in the end, Artemis can only move so much. It's not a particularly large spacecraft. Larger than Apollo was, but you're not going to be moving a huge amount of anything. What you do move is most certainly going to be temporary. If you want to move anything that's going to have a real construction behind it, something that you can make a permanent habitat that you could have astronauts come and go from, in much the same way we have the ISS, you need something to move them. And that's part of the advantage of Starship. Once Starship is up and running, Starship's job isn't to be the first ship to the moon. It could potentially be the job of the first ship to Mars, because it's going to have to move more equipment. But the first trip to the moon doesn't need it. We've got other ships that can do that. But we need to build a habitat there, so it'll be large modules, it'll be metal constructions, it'll be all the vehicles that they'll need, large rovers, solar panels, just a huge amount of bulk equipment that has to go up there for the astronauts to assemble into that permanent base. That's what Starship will be used for. Mars being so far away, you need something the size of Starship, because you can't just go there on a temporary habitat. You need to move a lot of equipment to begin with. Potentially you'll need to send ships the size of Starship ahead of any astronauts in order to deliver other goods ahead of time and try and match up your landing points so that those previous deliveries are available. It actually makes a lot of sense for what you want to do there. And Mars, we have to go there. And Mars can't be the last stop. If we actually want to, even pretend for a second that we're going to become explorers in space, Mars has to be on our list of places to go. We have to do it. You can't avoid that one. It's the most, of all the places in the solar system outside of Earth, it is the most habitable one for us to actually go to. It's still not pleasant. But if we're going to become a multiplanetary species, or we ever want to actually even attempt trying to go multi-star system and actually become an interstellar species, we have to go to Mars. And there has to be a ship that does it first. I don't think Starship will probably be the perfect ship for the job, but it's going to be the perfect ship that we can build now to be able to do it. It's just a matter of getting it right and being able to get it there. And even if you don't like Musk, the one thing you've got to give him credit for, he's very good at hiring engineers that do the job. Even if you don't believe he does any of the work on it himself, I think he does. But if you don't, he's very good at hiring people that are very, very good at what they do. Watch some of the interviews of some of the people that work for SpaceX. They are some of the smartest human beings you'll ever see, and they're having a ball doing what they're doing. So I'm confident that at the very least they will get it right. Playing as the Australian research space. No, you can't make a custom. That's another thing I hope they put in. You cannot make a custom agency yet. Otherwise, I absolutely would. I'm playing as Temu SpaceX at the moment because you can't use SpaceX because it's a copywritten private corporation. So it's SolX in this game, but that's who I'm playing as. Right, that construction is done. Well, no, it's not. That's up. Wait, where am I? Earth orbit. Yep, that's under construction. The Stratos is in orbit. We can quickly do a mission to bring the Stratos back down. What am I doing? Sorry, I just had a total brain fart then. Go down empty. Cool. And that brings her back so we can use her again. And this is the other thing to consider with Starship that a lot of people miss. The last time we tried to put anything even close to the size of Starship into space, it was the shuttle. And the shuttle was fantastic for what it did, but also deeply flawed. And the other thing to remember is, while we all of us who grew up during the 90s remember seeing the videos of the shuttle launches, the important thing to remember is it never went out any further than low Earth orbit. The Artemis launch that we've just seen, it went out further than Apollo did. Shuttle never even came close to doing that. What they're trying to engineer Starship for, is to be able to go out even further than Artemis on something that's bigger than Shuttle. There's a lot in that. There is a lot in that. Alright, contract completed. Space dock is done. So we can now construct ships in orbit. We don't have a ship to construct in orbit yet, but we can do it. Now we've got the contract for Moon Base Alpha, which we're already ahead on. So Moon Base Alpha contract wants us to put a mobile refinery on Lunar. We've done that. Mining module on Lunar, we've done that. Plan a mission from Mars to Earth lasting 3 cycles moving processed fuel. That we will be doing soon. That is part of the reason why I wanted to actually be get the processing facilities up there for mining as quickly as possible. And exploring Mars, well, our Mars mission is already underway, so you know what? We launched after the other agencies. We're going to arrive first. These are their lines. This is their intercept points for each of the other agencies' missions. They all launched in a pack, and they're all going to intercept within a couple of days on Mars here. We launched later, and we're going to intercept here. They went for at least 12 months in space to get to destination. They must have been running on really low fuel resources to do that. Space Dock 1 is ready. Time to build the Enterprise. No, we're not quite that advanced in tech, Sea Dotters. We're going for the Hermes out of the Martian first. Quite literally the Hermes from the Martian, in fact. No, we need to complete these first, but we definitely need to put the Hermes on the construction, on the research queue, because we are going to need her. So there she is there. I do want to get the other stuff completed first, but because I've got some automation work to do on Mars before we send out any crew there. Because I need to be able to reliably bring them back if we need to. I also need to build facilities to be able to reliably bring back my supply ships. And I need to build a refueling station for the Hermes on Mars, so that we can tank her up if we need to, so I don't have to play fuel budgeting the whole time that I'm operating her. So that's kind of important. So we will get that done long before we send people. So that's going to complete as soon as that arrives. Let's go to Lunar. 965 tons. Yeah, we can probably do that now. Stratos is still there, so let's set ourselves up a mission. Yes, Ars, what's up? Alright. Sorry, my cat's meowing at me again. There you go. Lie down, you've got a comfy spot. Stop it. Lunar to Earth orbit. We use the Stratos again. Now, add resources. We're going to do a full fuel load, 100-ton fuel load. No launch vehicle because we don't need it. Now, hang on, I've messed it up. I need to go all the way back to the start. Set it as a cyclic. Stratos. Now we move the fuel. Wait until cargo bay is full. Now we're not bringing any resources back from the low Earth orbit. No launch vehicle. No launch vehicle for return. Optimal flight plan. We're not in a rush. And we're going to do 3 transfers because that's what the mission requires. Cool. Energy. Ground facilities require energy to function. Energy is produced at power facilities. Each type of power facility produces a different amount of energy depending on circumstances. Da 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 da. So yeah, basically we have to worry about power generation. So we need solar panels are our basic, requiring glass and I think just alloy. I can't remember off the top of my head, but pretty basic to build. The next one we get up from there is nuclear power, and then we can get up to fission and a few more futuristic energy types. We don't need to concern ourselves with those just yet. Alright, Moonbase Alpha. Construction equipment on Lunar. Outpost is already on Lunar. We need to build a fuel refinery. Yes, I know this. Water, ice extractor, and solar array, as well as deliver 10 people to Lunar. So that is on our short list of stuff to do as well. Now that mission is done. That is actually pretty straightforward because we've already got a lot of what we need here. I just need to look at what our constructions are. So the fuel refinery requires 50 metal. We've only got 15. And I think it's rare alloy here. Rare metals. 10 rare metals. Now for extraction, it's 125 metal for the water extractor, and that's it. And then power facilities, solar array requires 50 glass as well as 10 alloy. So we need to start working out, batteries as well. Although they're not a mission requirement, so they're not that much of a concern. So solar power might be the first one to move. Yeah, alright. We will start planning missions for this because we're going to have to start moving stuff anyway. I think we've got one of our starships available back on Earth. Right. Earth to Lunar. Now we're going to be doing 100-ton lifts for this one. Now I just need the resource check. So we need 50 glass. God, I can't wait till I've got the cargo expansion set up so I can get 200 and 300 tons in the Starship. That'll be really useful. But we're going to be still tight for the moment. In fact, I need to put that on the research as well. Alright, so next, fuel refinery is still going to require 50 metal. Going to require 10 rare. And then I'm going to fill the rest of this thing right to the brim with this metal. It's 30. Use Eagle as our launch vehicle. Send it on its way. And how much metal did we actually have on Lunar? We only got 15, 34, 45. We won't have enough to build. We're going to have to send more through. It's alright, it's going to take us 2 runs. Might almost be time to build another starship, actually. Alright, so looks like we're about another launch from Lunar for our fuel delivery. And that is our first supply run running there. Hey Dark Age, how's it going, mate? Cause I wonder if the devs were a Face of Space 1999 with that Moonbase Alpha. They almost certainly were. As I mentioned earlier on in the stream, Sea Dotters, there is references to the Expanse, the Martian. I'm pretty sure I didn't spot that one, but you're right. Space 1999 will be there with Moonbase Alpha. There's a whole bunch of others. There is a mission in here that is literally the mission from bloody Armageddon. An asteroid is going to crash into Earth, so you have to build a rocket and deliver a nuclear weapon to the asteroid and blow the asteroid up. There's a whole bunch of science fiction references the whole way through this. It's great playing Spotted. I didn't spot that one, but that is absolutely what that is. That'll be a Space 1999 reference. Okay, so first is here, 50. Alright, so we've got everything we need at the moment. We can start this. Get the solar panel under construction. Now we can have an immediate launch. Get our blank Stratos, little starship. Back to Earth as quickly as possible because we're going to need to do another delivery. No resources on this one at all, just a straight return mission. Did you ever finish the System Shock playthrough? No, I was playing that one on the live streams and then it just... my net went to shit, I think is what actually held that one up. And the gap went that long that I never got back to playing it on the stream. I really should do it again. It's a fantastic game, that one. And the remake for System Shock 2 is out as well. And I haven't played that at all. I have it, but I haven't played through. I've just been too tied up. But I would really like to play that, because I haven't played System Shock 2 since System Shock 2 originally came out. I also understand, although I don't know anybody that would be super interested in playing it, but I think the System Shock 2 remake has functional co-op as well, I think, which could be interesting. Oh, that was loud. Alright, gravitational slingshot. Jupiter to Pluto. Yep, we've done this mission before. Alright, we can do this. In fact, I'm going to do 2 missions for that. I will. Yes, I will do 2 missions for that. One to complete it, and one for something else. Yeah. Set. Sorry, I was trying to remember exactly where I was up to then. I got distracted for a moment thinking. Plan mission. Stratos is back. Falcon's good for launch. We can't do a full launch yet because we don't have Eagle ready, so I'm going to have to wait. In fact, yeah, now might actually be a good time, because we're cycling through heavy payloads. I might actually build a second Eagle. I'm going to build a 3rd Starship. So now we'll start planning for another mission. Still fine on funds, so I don't need to concern myself too much there. I want a mobile refinery. Yep, buy the alloys I need for that. And I need a mining module. And I need construction equipment. So this is going to be another triple. I'm clicking the wrong things, aren't I? Yes, I am clicking the wrong things. I'm an idiot. Just buy them. Right. In fact, I'm going to buy a whole lot more because I will be needing them. Probably should start producing alloys soon myself. Oh, it's only 1 million for... Oh, yep, okay. Yeah, that should keep us in alloys for a while. So Stratos is under construction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a mission. I'll need Eagle to do the lift because it'll be 50 tons at least. Launching with the miner, the refinery, and the construction equipment all in one launch, same as I did for the moon, but this is going to go to Mars. But it's going to be a one-way trip for that starship for the moment, because it needs to get out there. Once it's out, I'll need to wait until the automated equipment can refine enough fuel for me to actually be able to bring it back. So it'll be a one-way trip on the delivery, at least until then. So the third starship means that I can sacrifice one and still have two operating at this point in time. So that'll get me covered there. And that'll also begin the mining that we need to do for metals for each of these on the mission. Although I will need to deliver the food. In fact, I'm probably going to fill some of the rest of the cargo, because we're going to have a 100-ton launch. Probably fill the rest of the launch with a couple of various materials ahead of time that we won't easily be able to get. So put 20 tons of supplies just as an initial launch. I'll send 10 tons of rare metal. Probably send the alloy as well. I have to send the glass too. We won't have enough tonnage for that. The only thing there, our probe hasn't arrived yet, but the only thing we'll be able to reliably get at this point will be metal. So we'll be able to surface mine metal and water, which we can use for processing into fuel. The rest of these require processing. So there is silicon deposits, which we can convert over to glass, but we need a factory there to do that. Alloys requires processing facilities as well, and rare metals do too. Yeah, alright, we'll have to send some, but we won't be able to send all. We're going to have to do a second delivery for the glass at the very least, and then we might send through some of the metals so we don't have to wait for the miner to deliver it all. That'll probably be the best way to take care of that one. Other than that, back to Moonbase Alpha. Biggest issue they have at the moment. Let's have a look. Fuel refinery. We need 50 metal, so that's not a problem. Although we're going to have to... Ooh. I wonder how long that other Eagle's going to take to construct, because we're going to have one of them out for each launch, because we need another 100-ton launch. We're going to need 50 metal, so we've only got 45, so we need 5 metal, and we can get the refinery under construction. Mining. And then, yeah, it's just going to be a straight launch of metal. Quite a lot of it too, because I'm going to want to build an extra silicon mine as well, so I can start processing the silicon into glass and actually have glass in space, because it'll be a little bit easier to move around then. Because that's going to be an important one, because we're going to need that for the construction of all of our solar panels on anywhere that we need to build. Cool. Right, I think I know what I'm doing here. So this cycling mission should be finished up soon. I think we'll use this Eagle to get the Mars mission on, because it's going to take longer and I want to get that mission en route. Speaking of Mars, our probe's already there and starting to work out exactly how much material we have to work with. And it looks like they're just, well, probably another month or two away from arriving. So slow, the rest of the world. Yeah, I think I'm going to use this Eagle for the Mars launch to get the facilities up there next. Ahead. Alright. We'll use that Stratos for the launch, so... I'm not trying to construct a spacecraft, I'm trying to plan a launch. That's the button that I want. Mobile refinery is not worth it. Working... Still 55 days before I can launch. That's fine, not a problem. I remember brought the game after that. It was a great game. I didn't stop that playthrough because I wasn't enjoying the game. I loved that remaster. I played the arse out of the original System Shock. In fact, I've still got my original CD for System Shock from back in the day, floating around here somewhere. It's still in playable nick too. I keep all my stuff really well. So, yeah, I didn't stop it because of that. I'm pretty sure it was because my net went tits up and I just couldn't stream it, and it just didn't feel right at the time, switching from a stream to just a live play. Although in hindsight, having looked back on it, I should have done that with a lot of games. Mad Ann, what new games do you want to can't wait to come out for? Probably Winrose. Winrose is an absolute. I played the arse out of the demo. I think I put 20 hours into that demo. I wound up building a whole town, which was fantastic. Also did some multiplayer with the guys. Dead Meat loved it as well. There's good likelihood of me doing some live play with Dead Meat on Winrose. If not, I'll be playing it on my own. Great game. Absolutely looking forward to that. I've actually got a list of stuff that I'm following at the moment. This is one. There's the new Gunship game that's coming out. Looking forward to that. I'm actually hoping to get code for that one. There is recently today, there's a new flight sim, civilian flight sim that's being announced. Micropose is doing it. It's in almost a pixely art kind of style, but it looks really good. I like it. But it's a proper career simulation. So where Microsoft Flight Simulator is obviously very hardcore into its flight simulation style, along with X-Plane and those style of games. It's that end of the spectrum. This one's a little bit more simplistic, but it's more about managing an actual airline career, potentially managing an entire airline, having to deal with passengers, and actually doing the job itself, which looks like that could be a lot of fun. Beyond that, I've got a list of games as long as my arm space related. So Star Mine is another one that I'm looking for at the moment. That looks like it's going to be really, really, really good. You can absolutely expect to see that on the channel as soon as it becomes available. God, I've got to remember all the names now. I'll quickly pause this. I want to answer the question, because you may not have heard of any of these, or heard of some of these, so it's probably worth me mentioning them so you can go look them up yourself. So Starship Simulator is another one. I've played the demo of that. I've nearly made videos on that multiple times. It's still very bare bones. It's more of a working concept than a game at the moment. It's only available in a basic demo form, not even early access. But I reckon that's going to be great for your anybody who wants to have a proper Star Trek type game. I reckon that's the one. Star Miner I've already mentioned. Remnant Protocol. Planet Prospector I'm following, although I'm a little behind on the news on that one. Solar Expanse, this I was following, but it came out today, so I don't have to wait for that one anymore. Sea Beams, I've been following that for a while. That looks like it's going to be absolutely great. It's 2D, very similar to... God, I can't remember the name now. I covered it years ago. There's another 2D space... Oh, that's shitting me. Cowboy theme. I cannot remember that for the life of me. Regardless, it's a 2D flat plane, but it's got Newtonian physics, so you have to deal with drift and the rest. It looks like it'll be fantastic. Spacecraft I was following, but it is looking more like that's going to just be a variation on Space Engineers. For non-space, Engines of Destruction is my my hope for a decent non-shit mech game soon. So that's one. Generation Ship. Sorry, I'm rolling through I use my Steam wish list as a giant way to keep track of stuff that's been mentioned but isn't out yet. So I'm just scrolling through this at the moment. For a game that's completely out there, Light No Fire, from the guys who made... I'm having a brain fart. From Hello Games. I think that's going to be cool. But it's obviously still a ways out. They are in no means to rush that, so that's fine. Starseeker is one that I was looking at as well, which is based in the Astroneer universe. Stellar Trader, which is similar to this, but focusing entirely on trade. There was another one that I think has either just come out. Oh, Micropose, Steel Bounty, another mech game. And I could keep going here. There's a whole bunch. Shrouded Suns. I was looking at Verse Project. I wasn't impressed by Verse Project's demo. That was pretty rough. Final Orbit looks okay. There's a lot. I'm following a lot. And that's not even counting in my standard stuff that I'm obviously looking after. So, you know, IL-2 Korea is coming out relatively soon, and I'm absolutely going to play the balls out of that. Somebody finally got the idea. It's not good enough to just make the F-86 Sabre and the MiG-15. You actually have to create the Korea map and the assets for it to actually have a Korean War flight sim. You know, the thing that DCS never worked out, they made the two fighters and then forgot about the entire war for, I think, 10 years now, since the Sabre and the MiG came out. We still don't have a place to actually fly them, and you've got to use the World War II assets to simulate. But yeah, I've followed a lot. There's and there's more, but have a look through Steam. There is a huge number of space-related games coming out at the moment that are absolutely worth your time to have a look at. Some of them look great. They're all indie titles, nothing by AAA, and frankly, I consider that to be a good thing these days. Almost all of the games that I've enjoyed in the last... You know what? I can't think of a AAA game in at least 2 years, you know, excluding Microsoft Flight Simulator, that I've actually enjoyed. Everything else has been indie production. So, yeah. I don't see them being indie as a negative at all. That's where all the good games are now. Alright, let's see where we're up to. We have 2 functioning Eagles. Right, let's get some missions underway here. Everything else is built. We will do our Mars launch first. So this will be Earth-Mars Direct. The Stratos. Now, we're going to be adding modules. Mining. Construction. And the mobile refinery. That brings us up to 45 tons. Now, we're going to go to resources. They want 10 tons of RAM metal. $20 tons of supplies. And we got 25 tons remaining. Which way to do this? I don't have to send all the metal. I'm going to keep it somewhat light. I'm only going to send 10 tons of alloy, and I'm going to launch this at 85 tons rather than 100. It should give us a better flight window. Just double checking. 20, 10. Yep, that looks good. So that should give us a better flight window when we get to the pork chop. And then I can send hopefully 50 tons of metal and 50 tons of glass on a follow-up and mine 40 tons of metal there, and I'll meet all those requirements relatively quickly. I think that is going to be the best way to go. Yes, I think that's going to be the best way to go. That's interesting. We actually use We have a lower fuel requirement if we try and go faster. That's not how that's supposed to work. And we get there sooner and in less time. No, we'll go with that launch window. Yeah, that's set a spec. Alright, no, we'll go with that. I'm happy with that, because this is going to be a one-way. The Stratos is going to be sitting out there for a while on its own, while we wait to refine fuel on Mars to actually send her back. So... when is our... oh, I didn't check launch dates. It's nearly a year before we launch. Oh, that's fine. It'll be fine. That'll be fine. We'll still be ahead of the rest of the agencies, I reckon. Alright, next mission. We need basically just an arseload of metal. That's really all it comes down to. No, Mars is not going to be where we're going. Earth to Lunar, and the Stratos that we need is currently not available. It isn't built yet. It's because the other Stratos is still on Mars. It's having completed its fueling missions. So what we'll do instead, we'll cancel that mission, start a new one from here, Lunar Earth, bring this starship home. Once we arrive, we can send her back. Cheers, Mags. Thanks for the introduction to this game. Already looking forward to it. Totally dig the space content too. Hopefully this will be the year for it. There is that many games that will be releasing this year space related. I expect you'll see a lot of them on the channel because I'm going to be playing them. Quite a few mech games as well. It's looking good. We did finally get MechWarrior 5 modded up to do a clan playthrough, although there's a couple of glitches in there, but I've got it all set up and functioning with MechWarrior VR running and everything else running perfectly. And of course they've just announced that there's going to be another expansion that's going to break all the mods again, because of course they are. Generation ship sounds interesting. Yeah, it's still not in early access, and it's got a bit of development time behind it yet, but it looks like it could be good. What's going on with Falling Frontier? It's supposed to be getting an early access release soon. At the moment, it's just slow. They're just very slow in development. But I think it's only being done by like 1 or 2 guys anyway, so... yeah, and if I remember correctly, he's doing it in his free time outside of doing his real-world job as well. So, you know, I can get that. Hopefully things will speed up once he gets it out. And, you know, if it's good, people pick it up in early access. He gets a chunk of money and can devote more time to it. But, yeah, I get it. It's one of these things I like with indie developers. Sometimes their stuff, they announce it. They probably announce stuff a little bit too early. They get a bit excited. But the development times can be a little bit long, but it's usually not because something's going wrong in the background. It's usually just because the developers are actually working other jobs to try and pay the bills. And sometimes it works out really well. Remember Project Wingman? Started off as one guy who got sick and tired of waiting for a new whatchamacallit. Now I'm definitely getting late. I'm starting to forget game titles here. But waiting for a game that was never being released. I can't think of the name of it now. God, that shits me. I should be able to remember that. Anyways, it was one guy. And it wasn't until he got he was encouraged to put it on Kickstarter. And he had already developed about half or more of the game at this point in time. It was right near the end. And he was encouraged to put it on Kickstarter. And he made an ass ton of money for Project Wingman, and wound up hiring, I think, 5 other people total. Like the entire development team, in the end, by the time of launch, once he picked up a few extras as well, turned out to be like 10. And it's one of the best arcade flight games that has been released in years. It's fantastic. But more than half of the game was developed by one bloke in between work. You know, after hours, knocking off work, coming home, spending time with the missus, having dinner, sitting down at his computer, and building a fantastic game. And this is what a lot of them are like. So I can forgive them taking their time. How hard is this game? Is it like Crusader Kings complicated? Not even close. If you've played Kerbal Space Program, this is a breeze. Most of it you don't have to do the calculations for. It's really just working out your transfers. It's a lot of management. Yeah, if you've played KSP and sort of have a bit of a thought in your head on exactly how your space transfers work and how things for a space agency would need to be stepped and scaled, there's almost no difficulty to this at all. It's just fun. Very laid back. It'll probably get a bit more complicated a bit later, but it won't be complicated because it's difficult to understand. It'll be complicated because you're going to have a lot to manage. You're going to be trying to manage interplanetary transfers across the system, keeping resources, transferring between different locations in order to keep the colonies and the eventual cities that you build on other planets functioning, while also trying to manage, you know, whatever interstellar spacecraft that you've built and where it's going out of the system and what star it's going to, and whether or not you're going to need follow-up resource delivery missions that are going to chase it to where it's going or potentially run ahead of it. It'll get complicated just because of the sheer volume of stuff you're going to have to manage, rather than any individual component being particularly difficult to follow. And in the early stages right now, where we're just sort of ticking along while we're waiting for stuff to develop, very, very, very chill. Almost a cozy game. Almost. Yes. Earth to Lunar. We have 2 Stratos available now, but we only have... Well, actually, we should have 2 launch vehicles as well, too. So, we're going to send 100 tons of metal up on the Eagle. And then, just to be a show-off to the other space agencies, to Lunar, 2nd Stratos, another 100 tons of metal. Oh no, wait, hang on. Have we burnt out an Eagle? Yes, we're back to where... Oh no, the other Falcon's already tied up for the Mars launch. Okay, no, that's what that is. Alright, so we're not going to be showing off to the other space agencies. Because I want to get another 100 tons up there. I'll have to wait till the other Eagle is available. Once it's gone through its refurbishment. Looks nice, but I'm trying to tone down jumping into early access games. Understandable. This one, I did my first run at it. I never found the end of the early access content, not even close. And I put 14 hours uninterrupted into it and I got as far as getting a very, very, very small outpost colony running on Mars. I think I can do it a little bit faster this time. I would like to get people on Mars before the end of the stream. But, yeah, it's perfectly stable. The content's all there. It feels like, for this early access, the best way to describe it, it feels like they've built the base game. And it's completely built. There's nothing missing from the base. It's now the early access is just adding the additional content on top of it. Everything, I haven't not run into anything at the base level so far that does not function in a way that I would expect it to. It's an astoundingly good early access release for the fact that it's only been available to the public for less than a day. I've had it for a week, just to be clear. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, I was offered a key to take a look at this, which I jumped at the opportunity from because I'd already been tracking the game for a couple of months on my games that I want to play list, so I'm not going to turn that down. But, yes, it So keep that in mind. I did receive the game for free, so you can discount my opinion if you wish. But my honest opinion is that they've just built a really good base, and they seem to be just setting up the early access just to plug everything in on top of it as they need to, rather than early access releasing a base that isn't complete, and you're going to run into issues. The game's entirely playable now. You just occasionally run into things like, as I showed before, let's pop up the research tree. Where is it? So part of the development for the game is the ability to go to other star systems. So you're not trapped in just Sol. You can go further. Where is it? There it is. Interstellar travel is a research node. It stops there. You can see there's far more space for an expansion of the tech tree, but that's as far as it goes. And the research time on it is over 49,000 days, which basically means you won't be able to complete it at all. So that's where things sort of stop at the moment. It looks like they've got everything in, or most of everything in base gameplay wise within the solar system. You just can't leave it yet, and there's probably some more additions that they can add to it to mess around. But the base game it's all there. But that gives you an idea on why the early access is there. It's just they haven't added those parts yet. Although I did notice, I haven't tried it yet, there is an option for my observation telescopes to start trying to find other star systems that I can potentially colonize. So I think I can locate them, I just can't get there. One curious thing that happened lately, which may help check out a game... games are demos. Yes, it is great to see demos back, isn't it? I said for years the worst thing that happened was us losing demos. Demos were a fantastic way to be able to go hands-on with the game without having to purchase it ahead of time, to be able to actually see what the game was like. And they disappeared for over a decade, and they've just come back all of a sudden, and it surprised the hell out of me too. But I don't mind. I'm happy. It's good that they're back. I think it's a fantastic idea. I don't think they should have left in the first place. So bringing them back is awesome. Right. Eagle is almost refurbished. We should probably bring the other Stratos back from Lunar. There we go. She has her mission to return. And we can now plan Earth to Lunar. We should have... Ow! Cat! If you want to jump up on my lap, just jump up on my lap. Don't try and jump up on my lap with all of your bloody claws out. It hurts. Thank you. Here you go. Go to sleep. Stratos. Add resources. I just want metal. Damn it, I thought Eagle was already done. Alright, that's going to have to be on hold for the moment. Anyways, let's go to Lunar. So solar panels are under construction. We have 145 tons available. So for our Lunar mission... let's get the refinery up and running first. That just drops us down to 95 tons. Because we've already got water being mined by the mobile mining facility. So it is already pulling water up, so we can already start, that'll start processing quicker. And then we can follow it up. Now, actually, I need to check that. So next production, with the refinery already under construction on the moon, we need the water extractor, just to speed up that processing. The water extractor is only 125 metal. We've got 95 already available, and the only other thing is to bring people up. So 30 tons of metal, and if we bring the rest... Ooh, can I? Ooh, maybe. All right, we might complete this mission this round. We're going to can that for the moment. Back to Earth. We have 1 crew containment, which is good for 5 people. So I need another crew unit, because I can't build anything larger than Type S, which only hold 5 people. So get that under construction. So our mission plan. And what is the mass of them each? I think they're 10 tons. It says on 5, I don't think they are. Right, so 2 crew. So I need to make sure there's a big supply run on this as well. One is under construction. So yeah, 30. Right. Earth to Lunar. Send up Starship. Nope. Let's start with modules. 2 crew compartments, that's 10 people. So we need 10 people on there, and we've already got living quarters for them constructed, which will support 10 people. So that's fine. Now we need 30 metal to be able to complete the water extractor. Yep, so that's on 50. So yeah, the crew compartments are 10 tons each. That brings us up to 50. So then I'm going to fill the rest of this mission with 50... Oh, we're nearly out of supplies. That's why. Probably should start making those sometime soon as well. No, I don't need 4.6 million in supplies. 200 will be sufficient. That brings us up to 50 tons, giving us 100 tons neat. We use Eagle as our launch vehicle. And that'll complete... That'll have everything we need on there. We'll just need to complete the construction on the refinery, build the water extractor, and then that mission will automatically complete. And we should have enough food on the planet to last for at least 5 years or more, I think. Not sure when, but there's quite a resurgence of game demos like Windrose. Yeah, I put way too much time into that. It releases on the 14th too, so expect that to be on the channel again soon enough, because I really enjoyed that. How's your zoo doing? The zoo is doing absolutely fantastic. The crocodile is getting bigger. She's also gotten grumpier. She's come to realize that she is in fact a crocodile and not a cat. So she is a bit snappier than she was in the past, but not by a huge amount. And it's usually when you try and pull her out of her enclosure, she doesn't like that too much. Once you've got her out, she'll occasionally thrash a little bit, and then she'll settle in and let you pat her. But it's just more of, I don't want to get out of my house, go away. But she's also big enough now that she's becoming a bit more confident. So where she used to hide a lot, because that's what little crocodiles do, now she comes out, she plays with the squeaky toys inside of a fish tank. So in the middle of the night, it'll be pitch black inside the house, and we've got these tiny little dog toys that just float around in the water in her house. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, you'll quick splash and then a squeak as she's just done a practice strike on one of the toys as it's been floating around in the water. Turn on the light in there, and here she is, just happily sitting there, hanging onto a rubber toy floating around. It's very cute. The gliders are all growing. Our baby glider is no longer a baby glider. We're actually in the process of trying to find a partner for him at the moment. We're setting up a couple more breeding programs. We're getting into the winter period, as a couple of the species actually do most of their breeding during the winter, or at least they're coupling during the winter, so they lead towards births closer to spring. So we're trying to take advantage of some of that, and yeah, it's going very, very, very well. Very well. Let's go to Lunar. Everything has now arrived, so now we can schedule construction of the water ice extractor. So that brings our metal down to low. Now I want to get a silicon mine up and running as well. So I'm going to have to start doing regular metal runs up, because it looks like... I don't think the last time I played through this, the moon had any metal either. I'm pretty sure... helium-3 there. I'm not sure if it's the same resource layout, but I'm pretty sure I didn't have metal then either. So I'm going to need to do regular metal shipments up to the moon to be able to complete the constructions and expand it out. Because the next job here will be to expand from the single 10-person habitat that we have now as an outpost up to full-size habitats. In terms of supplies, we have enough supplies on the moon for those 10 people to survive up there for 33 years. So that side of things we're pretty much good on. Yes. Alright, we will bring Stratos back. Now what I'm going to do here, we will actually go back to Earth. We are actually going to come back with cargo this time though. Going to add crew compartments in, because we're going to need them for another mission soon. But I'm bringing the crew compartments without any crew on board. They will stay at the outpost. The crew compartments come back with Starship, empty. And I can repurpose those for another mission, so I don't have to build any more. From there, where is... Launches August 27th. So we've got another month before launching our... Yep, that'll be our launch window. Actually, it looks like everybody's launching there. I suppose it makes sense. That was the next transfer point to Mars. So it makes sense it would be a cluster of launches all at once. 27th is there. It looks like we're going to be last off the rank to launch. But I doubt we're launching the same equipment. I think I'm probably launching a little bit more tonnage than they are. So Lunar's good, so it's time. We will spacecraft. I want to build an Iris probe. And I want to build a probe. And now we can start getting things... start getting this slingshot maneuver actually launched and prepped. So we can... 25... I'll do a 42 ton. We'll keep the Eagle clear because I'm going to need the Eagle in just a minute. We'll do Earth, Lunar again. Send up Starship. Add resources. Metal. 42 tons. And we'll launch on the Falcon. So we don't have to wait. We can get some of the metal up there because I need another 125 so I can get the silicon mine up and running. And then plus whatever metal we need for the construction of the habitats. And I'll want at least... They're 100 person in a habitat, so I'll need... Oh yeah, no, I won't be putting 200 people on the moon straight away. So we'll need one for the moment. We don't need to plan that far ahead. want to go somewhere else too. I need to probably set up an extra mission that is outside of our current. We've got the funding for it, so... I wonder if I could try and go in and drop a probe on Venus. That would be nice. Should probably queue one of those up. Still under construction. Iris probe is still under construction. Go Lunar. We've got 42. And let's program another return. Lunar Earth. Send the Stratos back nice and empty. And we can do that run again. Here comes all of the Mars launches, and they're almost certainly Mars launches. That's interesting. That one's not. Mobile refinery to the moon. They're only just getting their mobile refineries up now. How much of the moon's population do I represent at the moment? Oh, they've taken all their people home. I have all the population. There goes the chain. Now they're none of those are going to the moon. These ones will be though. All right. That's a lot of launches out there all at once. Okay, so these are all lunar intercepts. What are they launching? Now we can have a look and see. They're launching single equipment. So, mining equipment. You compare that to ours. We're launching the mining equipment, construction equipment, mobile refinery, and resources ahead of time that we'll need for construction. Although, with the tonnage, these will be lighter. Although, it depends on whether or not they're using full fuel loads. What are their arrival times? Shit. What is... arrival date? March 2025. So when's the March 2025 arrival window? We all launched at about the same time. I'm going to beat them there again. This is their intercept. We're doing a much shorter intercept. Yeah, we're going to be ahead months in advance. I'll have fuel refinery already functioning by the time they get there. Nice. Very, very, very nice. Okay, so that's all set. They're all good. Now, back to Earth. We have a Falcon and an Eagle, and we have a probe. Right, now, gravitational slingshot planning. Remember how to do this. So this will be mission number 1. We're going Earth to Jupiter. This is our first part. Specifically, we want to go Jupiter orbit. Slingshot 1. Now, if I remember, you got to name the phases. So, the screen's in the way. Slingshot 1 to Jupiter phase. We're launching the Iris with a probe, and we're just going to use the Falcon for the launch. So mission length to get to there will be 5. Can we go a little faster than that? No, fastest and optimal are exactly the same. Alright, so we're not going to be able to launch it on Falcon. We'll launch an Eagle. Really? Iris, we're just carrying one probe. Ah, that's the problem. Okay, we can't do that mission yet. So thinking, hang on, why isn't that working? No, Iris isn't good enough. We need something that's got more thrust. So we need... Looks like we need to research Saline, and Saline's going to have to be researched more urgently than anything else. I'm going to have to speed her up so we can complete the mission. So she goes into research now. Research time is 180 days. Plus whatever her build time is. Then we can set up the slingshot. Yeah, because the standard Iris probe only has a small chemical engine on it for messing about in orbit, where the Saline has a... what's the engine type? Electrical based engine. The one that uses like argon gas as a propellant. Alright. Lunar just needs more metal. So while we're waiting, mission planning. Earth to Lunar. Send up a starship, add resources. I want another 100 tons of metal up there. And we'll use one of the Eagles as a lift. That should have us enough that we can actually get the next phase of construction going. I hope. Well, the race to the moon is on. They're all running the same, and I'm already overtaking them on the inside. G'day Vox, how's it going, mate? Well, I hope everybody's enjoying the stream. They've been awfully quiet. I am enjoying the game. Ticking along. Construction is good. They're already en route. How much we do for orbits? I don't want to send multiple starships one way to the moon to get the rest of these deliveries done. Not yet, anyway. Although I suppose I can just build another starship. It wouldn't hurt to have two. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I have a new mission plan. Alright, I'm going to need a second probe. I want a second probe. Right, so Mars. Really cool place. It has 2 moons. Deimos. Silicon and water. At least that's what we've spotted so far via telescope. Phobos. That's what I'm after. Metal, silicon, and carbon. I need to get a probe onto Phobos to confirm the amount of carbon that's there, and I need to set up a carbon mine. Because carbon, we haven't got it researched yet, but carbon is one of the base requirements for being able to all the consumable resources for maintaining farming and Mars itself, as far as we know at this point, does not have any. So we're going to need a steady supply. I can send a starship up with a probe and a whole bunch of the other resources that we need to make the transfer. We'll go short on the metal over anything else, so 50 tons glass still, the probe plus whatever metal we can take, because we'll be mining the metal there. And then once there's enough fuel, we send one of the starships home, and we use the fuel that we refine on the rest to relaunch the starship from the surface of Mars up to Phobos to deliver the probe that we deliver. And then we can leave that starship there permanently on Mars, because it'll end up acting as a truck once we get a resource refinery up on Phobos, which we can move the mobile refinery that's on the surface of Mars up to Phobos once we've got proper mining facilities actually built on site. It's needing the carbon is a later requirement, but it is something you probably should think of ahead. So there we go, Moonbase Alpha contract is completed. A permanent base of operations allowed us to expand our operations on Lunar and beyond. With such a operations center, we can develop space flight infrastructure. Great job. Alright, so new contract, research laboratories. Improve research efforts. We need to learn more about the world we're trying to explore. You can do this by constructing and crewing laboratories on other objects. You can only build one on each object. They provide diminishing returns the more you build them. Each one improves the speed of our facility, our research facility, significantly. So we need a research facility on the moon. Sounds good to me. What do we need to build said research facility on the moon? Judging from the fact that I can't see it, I think we need to research it first. Yes. We are going to need to research a research facility in order to build the research facility so we can research more research. Oh, it's getting way too... I find that way too amusing. It's way too late in the night. Observation, power, fission theory, chemical propulsion, launch vehicles, solar sails. Probably should have put expanded cargo bays on the shortlist there as well. I don't see it. And damn, still going, Mags? Look at the time and consider not making the wife mad. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I haven't looked at the clock yet. 1:26 in the morning. Yeah, I've got another half hour on me yet. It'll be fine. I'll call this at 2 AM, right? Which means we probably won't get people to Mars, but I'm going to get some stuff operating on Mars at the very least. And we'll definitely get this planetary slingshot maneuver launched out first as well. Alright. Well, they're already en route, so that's easy. I shall remind you. Yep, thank you, Tal. Yeah, yo, dog, I heard you like research. I'll let you research some research so you can research while you research. It does. Yep, that's about where my brain was at before, yes. Exactly where my brain was before. Looks like our Mars mission is about to arrive. I think the missus meant you'll call it at 2 AM whether you like it or not. Nah, she'd come in and yell at me at 4 AM. 2 AM, I get left alone. 4 AM, When I have moments where I wind up at 4 a.m. and it happens more often than I would like to admit, and I'm not as young as I used to be, so I don't bounce back from those as well as I used to. I'm barely functional the next day, so I deserve to be yelled at. It is perfectly acceptable for that to happen. Unfortunately, keeping track of time when I'm having a good time is a little bit difficult. So, yeah. Earth orbit observer. Okay, so we have switched over. Apparently we've observed everything we can, at least via the telescopes. Greeks. You know what? I want to do something with Ganymede. I haven't done anything there, so let's start observing Ganymede. And what about Earth orbit is still busy, so they're doing their thing. So it looks like there's nothing for us to find in near Earth orbit at the moment. So let's have a look and see what we found in the way of asteroids. That's a lot lower than I was expecting. I'm pretty sure I found more last time. I think that can't be all of them. I must need another facility somewhere else. That one is interesting, though. Fizzles and... Oh, that is tempting. Can I get something up there that can mine it? It's not that far out, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's an easy spot to get to either. Oh, looks like the first deliveries have arrived on Mars, which is good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the last time around I actually found a lot more in the way of asteroids, so I think... But I think I was using multiple telescopes to look in the area, so I think I need to find another one. Yeah, my last game, when I hit that asteroids button, this section of space looked like a bloody parking lot. It was shit everywhere. I will have to keep a memory of that one. HoTaS, let's put you on my favourites list, because I am going to want to keep you in mind, because I will need those materials, and there's not too many easy places that we can get, that I can get them in space. Construction... So 125 for silicon mine, so I can build that now. What's my current power? 1.5 consumption, 6.5 generation. So that's fine. Probably, yeah, we need to expand our habitat. I probably need to do that first. It's 100 metal. 20 food. We have plenty of that, so if we can, even if we consume 20 supplies to build the habitat, that still leaves us with God knows how many years. 23.3 years worth of supplies on the moon at the moment for 10 people, so that's not a problem. Get the habitat constructed, and then we've got room to bring more people up, because each facility, the original facilities that we sent up here, so the mining module, the construction equipment, and the mobile refinery, these are all automated. As soon as they land, they just start doing their thing. You don't need to worry about having people available. They're all computer controlled. Everything else requires people. So each of the solar power plants requires people. We've got 2 allocated towards the solar generation. It's going to take 5 to keep the water running. Now we've only got 10 up here. The proper reactor also takes 5. So we've actually got a shortage. This is why we got that partial red. The water ice extractor is complete. It's running, but it's only running at about a little over 50% capacity. We've only got 3 people out of 5 that's necessary to operate it. So I need at least 2 more people on the Mun. Oh, fucking Kerbal. 2 more people on Lunar. Now, every time I build a new facility, it's going to have new requirements. So the next one I want to build, even though the mission is to build a research facility, the one I consider to be more important is a silicon mine, which is going to need another 125 metal. That's fine. It's also going to need another 5 people in order to operate. So I need to expand out the habitat to be able to handle more people. Plus, once you start getting into habitats, they're better. They have a higher quality of living than the outposts do. So once you start moving into more permanent structures, you start getting a chance that the people that you send to whichever planet will actually start breeding and creating new population on their own. So that'll obviously take a bit of time, but the sooner you can get that set up so potentially your astronauts on the moon can start bumping uglies in space, makes it much easier if you don't need to move the people yourself. Hey, Rat, how's it going? Right. This is there. We have 1 Stratos remaining on Lunar. We can bring it back. So I'm going to need to do another metal run. Dry return. Now, let's go back to Earth. Research has been completed, so we can now build Celine. And she can get the probe to Pluto, so we can get that mission underway. That one is going to be a long one. The last playthrough I did of this, as I said, I played out till... Can't remember if I got to 2040 or 2050 before the patch release that broke the save. Can't remember. Regardless, I launched the mission fairly early on. The mission still had not arrived at Pluto. It is a long trip out there. But I actually launched 2 probes to Pluto. I launched one to put a probe on the surface, as per the mission requirement, and then I launched another one that actually had a telescope on it to put in orbit around Pluto, so I can use Pluto as an observation platform for deep space. So that is possibly something I will do in 2 launches here as well. So Ganymede has carbon. That is good. Means potentially I can use Ganymede as... well, yes, I can use Ganymede as a farming moon. I need the carbon for production for the planet. That would make sense, because Ganymede was the fuel, was the food, the food and reproduction planet for the outer worlds in the Expanse. So it would make sense that they made sure that there was carbon there, since there is definitely a little bit of Expanse in this game's DNA. So it's doing its thing. A bit more time advancement. What's the time scale and tech of this game? Is it a conventional space drive or rather futuristic? Alright, so the game starts in 2020. We've only played through 5 years at this time, and it's all conventional as what we have now. Obviously, as I explained at the start, for legal reasons, they can't use all the naming conventions, but Stratos here, as you can see for the shape of the icon, that's Starship. That's SpaceX Starship. Your boosters, Falcon and Eagle, these are your heavy lifts that we have today, reusable rocket platforms that SpaceX developed. the big thing is that they're not restricted to everybody gets access to these. So even though Starship is a SpaceX thing, the other nations, so we've got NASA, the ESA, China, and Roscosmos, they can all get access to them, and the reusables as well once they develop them, which looks like Roscosmos has. Looks like everybody's fast-tracked down to them. Anyways, so it's all conventional stuff, but it develops out to nuclear rockets, it develops out to the highest technology I think that's available in the early access at the moment is the equivalent to the torch drive from the Expanse, which was the precursor to the Epstein drive that all of the main ships in the Expanse use. So the technology goes out to there. I am 100% positive they're going to put in the equivalent to an Epstein drive in it, because of the very obvious references to other science fiction universes that are present in this game. There will almost certainly be an equivalent of the Rocinante in this game as an option. So, and the time scale, well, your starting options. So pretty much it takes months and years to do anything right. Yep, you've got to do a lot of time acceleration to do it. This launch, well, I can show you right now. We'll do it. We'll do one of the biggest launches that I've ever had to do. We're going from Earth to Jupiter orbit. So this will be Slingshot 1, and this will be the Jupiter phase. The Jupiter phase of the Slingshot. Selene will be our launch craft. We are adding our probe as our payload, and I think we can still use Falcon as a launch vehicle. Yep, this is better. Alright, so Optimal will take 3 years. We are right in a really good launch window coming up for this too. Where the hell is Pluto right now? Oh, hang on, I'll work this out and then I'll find out where it is. 1 year, 3 months and 1 day. That's significantly less than the last one I did. Well, 3 years, 3 months if we go optimal. Fuel usage. Oh no, we're going to do a fast run to Pluto. Because this is a one-way trip. I'm not bringing this probe back. This thing's going into the planet. So it's fine. No, if we can do that in 1 year, 3 months and 1 day, that is... Where the hell is Pluto right now? That is very short. Anyways, you're looking at 1 to 3 years to get out this far. That is shockingly fast. I'm pretty sure it took 8 the last time I did this. I must have got a really bad launch time. Oh no, that's... Oh wait, hang on. I'm an idiot. This shows that it's late. That's just the Jupiter transfer. So that gets us to Jupiter. Now, I've got to do the second part. So Jupiter must be in a good launch window right now. That would make more sense. Okay. So now we need to have we go to Jupiter. And we plan a mission. Jupiter orbit, which will contain the Slingshot. And now we're going to Pluto. This is going to be where the rest of my years are. So this will be... Slingshot 1, second phase to Pluto. Flying from Earth will be the vehicle. Cargo will go with the next gravity assisted target. That is fine. That's what we want. There will be no launch vehicles. Gravitational assist. And that is interesting. We cannot do that. So we have to go back. Yeah, okay. I know what I'm up to now. I fucked it up. That's fine. I'm going to can that mission. We're going to replot it. Sorry it's getting late and my brain just completely missed the obvious then and got really confused. So Earth, Jupiter orbit, and I really need to put my keyboard in a better spot so I can actually read it. Slingshot 1 Jupiter, we are same spacecraft, we are taking the same payload, we're still taking the Falcon because we don't need anything else. We want to go with an optimal launch, 3311. Right, so it's going to take us 3 years. Now we go Jupiter to plot the next part of the sling. Plan mission, Jupiter orbit to Pluto. Now, hopefully with the 3-year window more optimal. Yes, now we can do it. We have enough fuel left over for propellant to be able to complete it. Mission length, 25 years, 11 months, and 9 days. That's more like it. That makes more sense. So, Slingshot is programmed. So, the way this looks, the launch is going to go out. So, it'll launch next year. Loop out through the belts to the intercept with Jupiter out here, and then from the Jupiter intercept, which I'm not going to be that's right, I can just WASD to get over there. So we'll intercept Jupiter here, we'll get our slingshot, which will launch us straight out to the outer planets, or to the far outer solar system. And this will be our intercept point for Pluto. So from there to there is about 25 years on Pluto's current orbit. And that'll get us out there and get a probe to its orbit. Now what's really fun is you can start doing some really wild slingshots. When I did the 2 launches last game, I did them 3 years apart. And I managed to get it so the probe that I launched 3 years later was going to arrive 6 months before the probe that I launched first, because I actually did a double slingshot. A slingshot off of Jupiter, came back into the solar system, did a loop around the sun, and then had the probe doing the space equivalent of Mach fuck, coming out of solar orbit, heading towards Pluto, and actually arriving 6 months ahead of the probe that launched first. So, Dark Age, the what drive? Yes, it is a very unfortunate name. It was long before any of the Epstein stuff that we found out, that we now know about, became a thing. But the original name for the drive, which was named after its creator who died in the Expanse's lore, I can't remember his first name. It was not Jeffrey, but his last name was Epstein. He designed a drive that allowed for constant acceleration, which is how they work. That's how you get artificial gravity in the Expanse. When you see them walking around the ship normally, the standard cruising speed for a ship in the Expanse with an Epstein drive is able to maintain a constant acceleration of about half a G to 1 G, depending on the ship. Most go a little bit under because it's more comfortable for the crew, particularly if some of the crew is from Mars or the outer planets where gravity is lower. But they can maintain a constant thrust of like half a G, that can maintain a constant down gravity. So that's how they walk around the inside of the ships when you see them. If they stop thrusting, everything goes into 0G and starts floating. And the ships can do a constant thrust under an Epstein drive halfway to its location, and then it does a flip and burn, and it's under a constant equal deceleration to the rest of the distance to the target, allowing for artificial gravity inside the ships at all times. If you haven't read the books or watched the show, it's Solomon Epstein. That's the one. Yes, in the Expanse lore, he designed the first ship with an Epstein drive, and he fired it up, but he didn't put enough restrictions on its ability to accelerate, so it accelerated to something like 15G, and he was never able to actually release the controls to shut it down. So he died in its first flight as this ship left the solar system, accelerating constantly at 15G with his corpse inside of it. And it is, as far as the lore is concerned, still going and will continue accelerating until it eventually runs out of fuel, which will take, because of the way the fission fuel pellets work in the Expanse universe, potentially years to a decade, under a constant stable acceleration, and then it'll just continue to go ballistic off into the stars. So that's the lore behind the drive. But yes, very unfortunate name for the drive given what we've got now. But yes, it's called the Epstein drive. And it's it's a fission pellet fuel drive that uses its water is the base, like the base accelerant, but it's water that has been essentially vaporized to almost an atomic level and then charged up with so much energy feeding through a fission drive that is releasing at a ridiculous velocity in order to be able to maintain really long stable burn times at really potentially up to really high Gs without burning through your propellant mass, requiring relatively low in the way of reaction mass or anything else. So there is actually a bit of science into it, and it is, if you could ever build a reactor or a drive reactor that could put out the amount of energy as is meant to be able to put out within the Expanse universe, and theoretically the drive would actually work. Just we have no idea how we would build that drive. The Expanse is actually really good when it comes to its hard sci-fi, and this game absolutely is made by somebody who absolutely loves that universe. So another Bad Man Ruins Surnames event, yeah, pretty much, just because you can't hear it now and not think that, but that's, yeah, the books for the Expanse came out long before we knew anything about that rock spider. Anyway, slingshot maneuver is planned. That is done. We need to set up another Mars delivery. So let's have a look at what we've got going on at Mars. We have 37.2 tons of fuel refined. That is nowhere near enough. We need 300 to be able to fuel a return mission minimum on Stratos. It'll take a full tank to get it back. And yeah, we need 300 tons, so that's going to take time. So we can do some other deliveries instead. Doesn't mean we're going to leave 2 probes out there, though. Well, we do already have 41 tons, so I might not need to send... We've already managed to gather 41 tons of metal. It's 25 tons for a refinery. Let's go to Earth for a second. $25 tons for a mobile refinery. I'm wondering whether or not the better move would be to send a second automated refinery to Mars. And only 25 tons of metal plus 50 tons glass. Just so we can double our fuel production ahead of time, because we're going to need to bring both of these starships back. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Because we can always... The thing with the mobile refineries is they don't wear out. Once we've got established, solid, manned fuel refining on Mars, we can pick up those fuel refineries and take them somewhere else. You know, we don't have to build them again, and we don't need to ship them from Earth. I can do a mission launch from Mars to move the refineries to another location. We can also use the automated... move the automated drills in the process as well. So... yeah, sending 2 refineries might be the solution to be able to produce enough fuel to be able to get these starships coming back, or at least one of them. One can stay, I want one of them to come back, but we're going to need to send it soon. Is all of this in the demo, or are you playing the early access version? This is the early access version now. The early access version launched today, Dark Age. I have had this for a little while, though. I got access to the game about a week ago. I got code, so I've been playing it for a bit. But as far as I'm aware, the game launched this morning into early access, and all of this is in early access. I'm not entirely sure how much of it is in the demo. I could see there being a decent chunk, though. I could see the demo playing out at least to Mars. So everything that I've done so far in this stream, I would assume would be fairly easily fit into the demo. Looks like the rest of the agencies are going to try and move some stuff now too. Oh no, they're all lunar launches. Okay. I thought they were going to try and lob out to Mars then. What are they doing? Well, they still haven't got people. Well, they're refining quite a lot of fuel. Alright, this is getting interesting. Alright, so NASA has 3 starships currently parked on the moon. I have no idea why. They've got a probe, they've got a refinery, and they've got mobile mining up there. But that's it. But they've got 3 starships parked up there. The ESA has a Daedalus in orbit. Daedalus is a solar-powered starship. A simple photon kite sail, needs no fuel but limited in range. I haven't really played with these yet. I haven't researched them, and I didn't research them in the last game. I know they're there though. So these are solar sail starships. What are they doing with one of them there? China's got 3 starships. Roscosmos has got 3 starships. It's only ESA, 2 and a Daedalus in orbit. That's odd. Okay. It does say that the AI means the AI isn't doing exactly the same thing across all of them, though. The others were all doing the same thing, but that one wasn't. It's an oddity. I haven't spotted that. It's the first time I've seen anyone using the solar ships as well. Right, we need to move some more stuff. Or I need to... I wonder. Where is Apophis? Apophis is a little bit further around. Shame I can't see Apophis's orbit. It doesn't show it. Thinking about launching using the Iris to see whether or not I could put a probe and potentially a mining drill on Apophis. But with it out that far, I think I'd need something bigger. I do. Alright, let's... Refinery is built. Let's set ourselves up a mission. Earth to Mars. I really need to start giving these some decent names. We're going to send one of our Stratos. We're going to have to build another one to make up for our shortcomings. So we're going to have 4 starships operating now. Now, no, add module. I want to add the mobile refinery. Add resources. We're going to add glass. 50 ton as per mission requirement, which will let us get a solar power generator running up there. And I am also going to add 25 tons of metal. We'll launch with Eagle. Fastest flight. I don't care about fuel usage. We'll be refining fuel on the other end, so that's fine. Mission is planned. Right. So that's set. We are going to now put another starship or a Stratos into construction because we're going to need it. And we're down to 1 Eagle free for launches. I wouldn't mind habitability. Temperature is horrible. Yes, we know this. Composition is horrible. Pressure. I wonder whether or not we can actually put a probe down. That is the question. That is the question. Can I send... Do we have a spare probe for the start? Yes, I do. I have 1 probe built at the moment. I wonder whether or not I can do that mission. I wouldn't mind just putting something somewhere that isn't in the current mission plan. So... Earth to Venus. Cannot deploy crew. Habitability is too low. That's fine, because I have no intention... it's not going to let me. It won't let me put a probe there. I probably have to develop some kind of high pressure landing to be able to do that. That is a shame. Come on, Russia did it. I should be able to at least put a probe on the surface that survives longer than theirs. Metal on Callisto. Reserving for resources on Europa. While we're at it, let's turn all the fun ones on. Magnetospheres. We have to get another satellite, another telescope out further that can do better research. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be as much as last time. Alright, Slingshot is away. This is your friendly reminder that you have passed the 2 o'clock mark. Yep, alright, yes, Mom. Alright, I will have to get to bring it to close. But just in enough time. We've got Slingshot away, so Slingshot is on the way to Jupiter. Once it hits Jupiter, it'll go through a mission rename. It'll change to Jupiter to Slingshot 1 Pluto. And it'll do its bounce from here and head out, and that'll be the next 25 years. So it'll arrive somewhere around 2050, 2051. So a bit of a haul to get that one out. Our Mars missions we didn't quite complete. We still need the glass, although it looks like sending the metal was a waste of time. The refinery there has already dug up the 90 tons of metal that is required. We just need the glass now. And from there we can start processing the rest. So, on that... Yeah, we're going to have to build the... I don't know if the outpost... I don't know if... No, I won't do that yet. If I build the outpost and it uses 10, it might untick. And I don't want to have to send just 10 tons of food to complete this mission. So I will leave that as is. As soon as this mission launches and arrives, we'll complete this with the 50 tons of glass. And as soon as that's there, I'll start building the outpost and the solar, which will get us ready for our first habitation run on Mars. Now, colony construction is our current research, which should be completing shortly. We will need to possibly move the Hermes up. In fact, yes, we are absolutely going to do that. Hermes is going to be moved up and do the next thing, because we are going to need her fairly soon to start moving crew from Earth to Mars. Because that one I'm not going to be moving 5 or 10. That one I'm going to be moving 25 to 50 people at a time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to bring this one to a close, as I have been reminded, but I hope you've enjoyed the stream, and I'm definitely going to stream this a couple more times. This is especially on my connection, this is a fairly laid-back game. I think it's been coming through fine with no frames dropped, which is great, and this is really good. It is genuinely just a good management game. It's very laid back to begin with. But having put 14 hours into it previously and actually playing out to the point where I had over 100 people on Mars the last time I was there, this is the kind of game where its complexity is going to build up over time. As I explained earlier in the stream, it's going to be a game where it's not going to be the individual actions that are going to be difficult. Its difficulty is going to develop as the complexity of your solar system starts going up. You're going to have more buildings to construct, you're going to have more colonies to handle, more resources that have to be done, more material that has to be moved from place to place. You're going to get to the point where shipping stuff from Earth is the least efficient way to actually do it, even though it's available, and you're going to have to start moving between the different points that you're actually building within the solar system. You know, metal mines on Mercury, shipping metal out en masse to wherever it needs to go, while you're doing fizzles, fusion products and potentially water ice off Mars, some semi-metal production off Mars, carbon off Deimos, helium-3 production on the moon, and trying to ship everything around and trying to balance the resources as you need them. So the further you play, it's a good way of seeing difficulty grow. I like it because it's not that it's inaccessible, it just means your difficulty is going to go up the longer you play as stuff expands out more. And the big thing being that the game is long term, although it's not in the game now, not going to limit you to one system. You will be able to go interstellar and start trying to colonize other star systems. So I just hope they include a part that lets you start custom creating, even if it's not as intricate as Kerbal Space Program, but lets you start custom creating your own ships. That would be really cool. Anyways, guys, I'm going to call it here. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, ladies and gents, take care.